best record in the major leagues. They've won 53 and lost 34. Began play today leading Oakland by a game and a half. The Oakland A's are playing Toronto tonight. What a matchup there. Dave Stewart against Mike Flanagan.
Well, you're not kidding. But you know, it's no wonder, Mel, that the Angels have done so well, because their pitching has allowed a full run less than the Birds through this part of the season, and that's a heck of an advantage even over other clubs that trails him. So that projects to a huge advantage over the course of a season series of games, say against the Orioles.
You heard Bob Melvin talking about the Angels' balanced offensive attack. They're in the middle of the pack in terms of batting average at 264. They lead the league in home runs with 80, and no one on the team has hit more than 12. So they've got a lot of guys capable of hitting anywhere from 5 to 12 home runs, and they have some speed. Also a very good defensive team. They're second to the Orioles in defense. They've committed just 50 errors compared to 44 for the Orioles. They're the best pitching team in the league. They have 19 complete games and 11 shutouts. Both figures are tops in the league, and have the league's best ERA at 2.96. This is a very solid baseball team.
You're going up against all those positive factors. It puts a lot of pressure on the opposing pitching staff at the same time.
Dick Schofield, the shortstop, will lead off against Dave Schmidt. Schofield batting .235. He hit his first home run of the year in the opening game Thursday night. He's had a good series. He's gone 4 for 9 through the first 2 games. Contact hitter, doesn't have much power, runs pretty well. In there mainly for his defense, and he takes a strike. He's an outstanding glove man. Dave Schmidt making his 20th start of the season. That's 6 more than he's had in any previous major league season. His last outing was Sunday in Milwaukee. He lost to the Brewers 7-2. He went 6 innings, gave up 5 earned runs and 10 hits in that start. High fly ball to left field and deep. Back goes Phil Bradley, and that's gone. Dick Schofield with another home run. He had none on the season coming into this game. He's hit 2 in the series and gives the Angels a 1-0 lead.
Well, you talk about somebody stepping up there and trying to set the tone for this game immediately before a large hostile crowd. And someone who's not a declared home run hitter. But watch this pitch where it is right here to him. Not a bad pitch. You know, he took something off of it. Schofield went down there, and the ball just kept carrying into the first or second row.
Slight breeze blowing out toward left field, but shouldn't have helped it too much, and it just cleared the left field wall. That's the 17th home run allowed by Dave Schmidt. That is far and away tops on the club. He just made the first roll. 1-0 California. Here's Max Venable. And he takes a pitch low. Venable, a 32-year-old veteran who's been with the Giants, several other clubs. Just recalled from AAA. Played in only 2 games. He hits one in the right center field alley, and this is going to drop in for a base hit. Finley cuts it off and holds Venable to a single. So the first 2 Angels have hit safely.
Batting third, the second baseman.
An inauspicious beginning for Dave Schmidt.
Johnny Ray.
Well, you know, the Orioles have overcome enormous odds to be where they are today, where they find themselves, and they've chosen to ignore the so-called baseball prognosticators, their wisdom. But if they're going to have anything to say about the second half, they've got to get it from the starting rotation.
Here's a switch hitting second baseman Johnny Ray, who's gone 6 for 10 in the series, and he takes a fastball low. Ray batting .284. He's been a much better hitter from the left side, where he's hitting .327 compared to right-handed batting .225. Venable runs very well. And he draws a throw. Max with some very impressive stolen base totals in the minor leagues. Really has never had an opportunity to play on a full-time basis in the big leagues, but he can run.
Well, that's what many talented young players, of course he's not young at 32, are missing, and just opportunity. They just don't get the opportunity during their careers. Better late than never.
Strike called. 1 ball and 1 strike to Johnny Ray. Ray, who was acquired from the Pirates a couple of years ago, he's always been an outstanding hitter. Normally among the league leaders in doubles. It's a lot of balls in the alleys in right center and left center, and runs very well. Ground ball. Milligan goes to second, over to first with Schmidt covering in time. Three to 6-1 in the double play.
That was a nice job by Schmidt to get over there. He recognizes with the ball hit to the right side that if Milligan fields that ball, he's probably not going to be able to get back. So he scampers over there and gets there ahead of Ray.
The first baseman, number 21, Wally Joyner.
Now Ripken eluding the slide of Venable, and they turn the double play. So there are 2 outs. And here's Wally Joyner, who went 3 for 6 in the first game of the series, won by California 13-5. He was 0 for 5 last night. He hits one to left field. Bradley breaks back, now in to make the catch. But the Angels take the lead on a leadoff homer by Dick Schofield, only his 2nd home run of the season.
Well, you know, Mel, if the Orioles can regain just a portion of the pitching strength they displayed earlier on, this should be quite a second half. And of course, it's going to have to be led by the veteran Dave Schmidt here out of the rotation.
The Angels, and as I mentioned, they are 2nd best in the American League to the Orioles. Wally Joyner is at first base.
For the California Angels,
Johnny Ray is the 2nd baseman.
Number 31, Chuck
Dick
Finley.
Schofield at shortstop.
For the Orioles, coaching at first base,
And Jack Howell at third base.
Johnny Oates. Coaching at third base,
Max Venable is in left field tonight.
Cal Ripken.
Devon White, a member of the American League All-Star team, is a center fielder. And veteran Tony Armas in right field. Lance Parish has been a great acquisition for this team. He is in part responsible for the improvement in the team's pitching, the way he calls the game and handles the pitching staff. And Chuck Finley, who struck out a career high 15 against the Orioles the last time he faced them, on the mound tonight.
Well, he can run the ball up to the plate continually in the high 80s. His ball even sinks some. In addition to a big curveball, he's mastered the split-fingered pitch or forkball he definitely uses as his off-speed pitch. Now, that one pitch, more than anything, has brought his game to the forefront. He uses his forkball as his out pitch, and when he's on, the hitters are generally out. We saw that the last time he pitched against the Orioles, and pitching to a little over 2 ERA. It's no wonder he was selected the All-Star game. He's a top winner on this Angel staff, which has been one of the best this season.
He's won his last 3 starts. He beat the Orioles 8-3 on June the 24th in Anaheim, striking out 15. He beat Minnesota 7-2 and Texas 2-1. So he has 3 straight complete game victories. Frank Robinson said when he struck out 15 at Anaheim Stadium, whenever the count was 0-2 or 1-2 in Finley's favor, he would throw a forkball out of the strike zone, and more often than not, the Oriole hitters would chase it. So he's cautioned hitters tonight to go up there and lay off that pitch, because he said he probably got 11 or 12 Ks on that 0-2 or 1-2 forkball in the dirt. Phil Bradley to lead it off. He brings a 16-game hitting streak into this game. That's tied for 2nd in the American League this year for the longest hitting streak.
He's hitting the ball all over the place. He's not only hitting the ball exclusively to right field anymore. He's pulling the ball and hitting it with authority to left.
Bill Ripken hitting out of the number 2 spot tonight.
And that gives Bradley the kind of respect he needs, so they can't bunch him defensively.
Popped up. Johnny Ray backing out and calling for it. 1 down.
But you can see how quickly Finley gets that ball on the batter's fists. He's deceptively fast. Throws the ball close to 90 miles an hour.
Well, 1 down, and here's Bill Ripken, who's hitting 2nd tonight. Frank Robinson said he wants somebody behind Phil Bradley who can handle the bat, lay down a bunt, play hit and run. And he didn't want to use Steve Finley in that spot against Chuck Finley, a very good left-hander. So he's moved Bill Ripken up to the number 2 spot. He takes a strike. Billy hitting .245. He didn't play in the first game of this series, and last night was 0 for 2 with an RBI. The Angels have won 6 of the 10 games played between the two teams this year. There's that forkball. 0-2.
You need a contact hitter in the number 2 spot, but with Finley pitching against this ball club, you're not likely to get too many people on base. Some guy who features at just a little over 2 ERA, you're not likely to see too many base runners.
Chopper to third. Jack Howell makes the pickup and throws him out.
Well, that was a nice play. He was fully stretched out there, gloving that ball, and still had to come up and throw a strike to first. And play that position. They like him for his bat, and they hope that he can do the job at third, which he's done for the most part.
Howell, who succeeded Doug DeCinces as the Angels' third baseman. Well, Finley's retired the first 2 hitters, and that'll bring up Cal Ripken. Cal had a home run in last night's game as the Orioles beat the Angels 6-4. Angels lead it 1-0 on a leadoff homer by Dick Schofield to open the game. Ball 1. Finley throws a fastball, a curveball, and a forkball. Cal Ripken Sr. coaching at third. And Johnny Oates at first base. Last year, Finley was 9-15. And the 15 losses were the most by an Angel left-hander in 15 years. That's nailed into center field. Here comes Devon White. Oh, is he graceful. That was a tough chance. The ball hit hard and sinking, but he stayed with it, and Finley sets the Orioles down in order. At the end of 1, California leads 1-0. Welcome back to Memorial Stadium. Another big crowd here tonight.
Your attention, please.
The Orioles last night snapped a 4-game losing streak against the Angels by winning 6-4, but they trail 1-0 tonight as Dick Schofield homered off Dave Schmidt to begin the game. Brian Downing, the DH, will lead off the second for the Angels. The veteran has a 5-game hitting streak on the line, is batting .309. Downing, who will turn 39 in October. He's had an outstanding career with the Angels. First came up as a catcher with the White Sox, then became an outfielder, and through sheer hard work made himself into a very good outfielder. But the last couple of years has been exclusively a designated hitter.
Well, he's content at DH. He continues to do what he's done in the past. Get on base and hit the long ball.
One ball, 1 strike. 2-1. Downing said one of the best things about being a DH is you don't have to put up with some of the official scorers' decisions that he's gotten earlier in his career. He said right there, that has to help my sanity a little bit. Pulled down the line, but hooking foul.
Everybody holds grudges in this sport too. Managers, fielders against official scorers.
Moose Stubing coaching at third for the Angels.
Moose lost some weight.
And Bobby Knopp at first base. Former Angels second baseman. Chopper to third. Short hop by Craig Worthington. 1 out.
You got the palm balling exploits of Dave Schmidt, so you figure to see a lot of ground balls. So that's going to keep the infield fairly active, and you're battling against the fork balling left-handed slants of Chuck Finley, and you expect to see some balls hit up in the air. So even though Finley can out velocity Schmidt, it'll be who can out trick whom in the battle of a slip pitch and a split fingered pitch here tonight.
That brings up Devon White, the switch hitting center fielder, who's already contributed defensively, making a fine catch on a sinking liner hit by Cal Ripken. Ball 1 to White, a member of the American League All-Star team, developing into an outstanding all-around player. Runs real well. He's an outstanding defensive outfielder. Each year becoming a little better hitter. There's the palm ball. And it's 1-1. Tony Armas is on deck. 2.
You know, he still has to exercise more discipline at the plate. Now, you're right, he is becoming a much better hitter. But he's got to learn to adjust to how pitchers are working him at the plate. You know, he mentioned to find palm ball on the mound, so you've got to base your judgments at the plate on that fact.
Schmidt didn't get the call on a borderline fastball, and it's 2 balls, 2 strikes. Jim McKean, the home plate umpire tonight. It's like another palm ball.
Exactly what it was.
He saw 3 of them in that at bat.
You know, you got to tell yourself when you walk up there, even if you're not a guess hitter, say, I'm going to look for this palm ball. At least 2 or 3 pitches consecutively, you're going to get it. See, that's out of the strike zone. But if you're looking for it, you're not going to swing at it. It's difficult to look for a pitch, I guarantee you, when there's 2 strikes on you. But you can at least anticipate he might throw it.
There's Tony Armas, who's gone 3 for 11 in the series so far, hitting .325. Armas still productive in his late 30s.
Yeah.
At least. He will. He is reportedly 36 years of age. I don't know if, according to whose reports. 1 ball, 1 strike, but he's been around a long time. Originally in the Pirates organization, then traded to Oakland, where he had some fine years. Spent 4 years with the Red Sox. Hit foul off first base. At one time, he was one of the premier power hitters in baseball. In 1984 with Boston, he led the major leagues with 43 home runs. Well, it's nice the way that batting helmet bounces up and down.
It's automatic.
Let's watch that again. Maybe we'll get another pitch to look at it. Let's take a look.
Maybe he's got to be concentrating on something else.
Here we go. No. Bounce to Bill Ripken, positioned perfectly, and he throws him out.
28 interceptions, 40 takeaways
for kids.
And what a spectacular rookie year Greg Olson has had. 15 saves and 15 save opportunities. Good fastball to Mickey Tettleton, and it's 0-1 to the DH, leading off the 2nd inning. Chuck Finley set the Orioles down in order in the 1st. Frank said when he managed the Giants and they were getting waxed in Chicago one night, and he went out to talk to pitcher Bill Lasky. He said Lasky kept looking over his shoulder thinking that he was going to be taken out of the game, and Frank said he took a bottle of Rolaids and put them in his pocket. Walked out to Lasky and said, you see these? This is the only relief you're going to get. Go get them. But he said he feels it's important to ease the tension sometimes going out there to the mound. So the writers always want to know, what did you say to a guy? What did you say? And he said a lot of times it's not what you say that was that important. It's just the idea of breaking the tension. Hit high, hard, and foul down the right field line. Back in the upper deck.
I think you need a lot of in-game humor and imagination. I think that's one of the reasons why Earl Weaver was so successful, because he commanded a lot of that attention in the dugout. Very communicative with his ball players, some of them anyway. Those that listened.
Earl would argue with his players, but he wouldn't hold a grudge. That was the beauty of Earl. It would all be forgotten the next day. Hit sharply to Schofield. And he makes the play on Tettleton for the first out.
Well, you can see how smooth he is at shortstop. Best fielding percentage in the big leagues over the last couple of years. He's only lacked in his ability to hit the ball.
Batting 5th, the first baseman, number 39.
I'll bring up Randy Milligan, who's playing first base tonight. Frank was saying he's going to try to get Milligan more playing time in the second half. He likes a lot of things that Randy does. He's hitting .275, but he has an on-base percentage of .434. He's walked 43 times. And he feels that if he plays regularly, he's going to begin to hit some home runs and drive in runs. Strike 1 to Milligan. Said he'd like to get more playing time for Milligan, for Mike Devereaux, and for Steve Finley. It's going to be more difficult with Finley and Devereaux, because he said, I understand these young guys have got to play if they're going to play well, but I can't afford to take time away from a Joe Orsulak or a Brady Anderson. They need to play also, so I'm going to have to just keep rotating guys, using them as I see fit. But in Milligan's case, I think we can look for him more. He hammers it to deep left field, way back, and this game is tied. The Moose unloads over the left field fence to tie the game at 1 apiece. Home run number 7 for Milligan.
He's got the patience to be a good hitter, Mel. You hit that right on the nose. But, I mean, this is a ruthless blast to left field.
Number 2.
I mean, you've heard of hitters getting all of it. Well, he knows right here in looking at it, glancing at it just briefly, that this ball is going to clear the fence by a wide margin.
No doubt about it. That's a 7th home run given up by Chuck Finley, and we're tied 1-1. Ball 1 to Bob Melvin. You remember when he was playing regularly, when Frank Robinson said he's my everyday first baseman. He got real hot, started to hit home runs, drive-in runs, continuing to draw walks. And Jim Traber kind of slipped back into the lineup, had a couple of key hits on the road, won a couple of games, put together a long hitting streak, and worked his way back in the lineup for a while. But I think we're going to see a lot of Milligan in the second half. Foul ball, and it's 1-2.
Well, no, you can understand Frank continuing to manipulate his roster of talent in an effort to produce the most scoring punch for any one game. That only makes sense. So consequently, he's not been one that's been prone to hoping for production from a strictly platoon format. So that's the beauty of the way that he's handled this ball club this year.
And of course, on a team, everybody wants to play. It's impossible for all of them to play every day, but I think Frank has done a remarkable job of keeping everybody involved, making them feel like they're part of this club. Everybody stays ready. Everyone's been productive at one time or another. 3-2 the count to Melvin. He's used Rene Gonzalez occasionally at second base, getting him in there, slip him in there at third once in a while, and give Craig Worthington a night off. He's done a good job of shuttling his outfielders around, dividing time between the two catchers, Tettleton and Melvin. Hit foul. And the chemistry of this club is really remarkable. Something unusual for a big league team. You don't hear guys grumbling too much about not getting opportunity to play, and I'm sure they all want to play, but they're in first place. They're all chipping in, and that's what's important. Strike 3 call. Kind of froze him with a fastball in the inner half of the plate.
Yeah, that's exactly why it froze him at the plate, because he got it in under the hands.
Batting 7.
You got to be thinking sometimes too that, hey, you know, he's got that good fork ball too, so I don't want to commit myself on a ball that I think's off the plate inside. But Melvin doesn't usually take a 2-strike pitch like that.
That's a first strikeout for Chuck Finley, who fanned 15 the last time he faced the Orioles. Strike 1 to Mike Devereaux. Mike batting .268. Frank was talking about Devereaux, and he said when he was playing a lot and raised his average up over 300, he was playing against both left-handed and right-handed pitching, and was actually hitting the right-handers better than he was the left-handers. He said when I began to move him in and out of the lineup, playing him almost exclusively against left-handers, that's when he went into the slump. So it feels he's got to play a few games in a row to get back in a groove. Broken bat roller to Schofield. He spears it and throws him out. But the Orioles tie it up on a Randy Milligan home run at the end of 2. It's the Orioles 1 and the Angels 1.
Now ball is out of here.
Mel Proctor along with John Lowenstein, Tom Davis, and Jeff Rimmer. It's been home run derby so far. Dick Schofield hit one to start the game, and then Randy Milligan homered with one out in the second to tie it up. Speaking of home run derby, John, have you watched the reruns that have been on ESPN here lately? The reruns, the 1959 show?
No,
terrific stuff.
I've heard that's coming back, though. I enjoyed it when it was on initially. Big fan of it. Who'd you see so far?
Well, in the opening show, Mickey Mantle defeated Willie Mays, came from behind to beat him. You know, it's really interesting to watch. It's all black and white footage. 1959 vintage as Lance Parish leads off the third inning. To me, what was interesting to watch is the comments of the players while they come over and sit next to the announcer, a guy named Mark Scott. And it's obvious the effect that television and the media has had on today's players. They're much more open, much more communicative. You know, Mickey Mantle, for example, they'd ask him a question, he'd kind of hem and haw and look down at his feet and say, yeah, I hit it pretty good. But all of the players were like that. No one really talked too much. I think Rocky Colavito was the most talkative of the ones I saw. I saw Mantle against Mays, Mantle against who else? Ernie Banks. He defeated Ernie Banks. And then I saw Harmon Killebrew defeat Mantle. And then Killebrew defeated Colavito in extra innings. That's the last show. Frank Robinson said he took part in that program. It was staged at the old Wrigley Field in Los Angeles.
Yeah, I knew that.
I don't know if they could revive that with today's players or not. It'd be fun to try, though. 2 balls, 2 strikes to Lance Parish, who had a home run in the first game of the series. Doug Rader, the 11th manager in the California Angels history, formerly managed the Texas Rangers. 3-2. Parish has been given a lot of credit for the improvement in the Angels pitching staff. He's encouraged the pitchers to work inside. Hit a mile high and deep to center field. Back goes Finley to the wall, and it is gone. Lance Parish gives the Angels the lead with a long blast over the center field fence, and it's now 2-1 California. That's his 12th of the season.
Well, that one was crushed too, and you can tell the ball is carrying much better tonight. It's that time of the summer where you get the ball up in this little gentle breeze right here, and she's going to go a long way. But look where this pitch is right there, you know, right up there in his wheelhouse. So he just got that big bat up there and got it on the ball, and look how far it carried.
That's the 82nd home run of the year for the Angels, who lead the American League in that category. Schmidt has now given up 2 home runs tonight, 18 dingers on the season. Here's Jack Howell, who has homered in each of the first 2 games in this series. He and Parish are now tied for the club lead with 12 home runs apiece. He pops it up. Cal Ripken backing out into shallow center field. 1 out.
You know, this is an Angels ball club. They were 10th in homers last year, so it's quite obvious that they figure to improve upon those totals this season. And it appears they'll do it without early career totals, even from Wally Joyner, who's been way below his first 2-year average of 28. So you got 6 guys who could hit 20 home runs. Downing and Washington, White, Parish, and Davis and Howell. They've all got a shot.
Another big crowd here tonight. The Orioles attendance is up almost 300,000 over last year. Currently 5th in the American League in attendance. Dick Schofield gave the Angels the lead with a home run in the first off Dave Schmidt, and he takes a strike. Schofield with both of his home runs this season coming in this series. One Thursday night and again tonight. Last year he hit only 6. The year before 9. His best home run year was in 1986 when he hit 13. 1 ball, 1 strike.
They've been looking for a good leadoff man for at least a couple of years. Fine grab by somebody up in the stand.
Give that fan a contract.
Bouncer up the middle, and that's through for a base hit. So Schofield is 2 for 2.
Well, he's got the eyes working for him tonight. He just punched that ball hard enough to left to clear the left field wall, and then he hits this bounding ball over Schmidt's head that finds the outfield grass. Schmidt's given up 18 home runs this year, and that is a ton of home runs over 111, 112 innings pitched.
Well, Schofield with a home run and a single in 2 at-bats. Schmidt has now given up 4 hits, including a pair of home runs. And here's Max Venable, beg your pardon. Ray will be the next man up. He slices it foul down the left field line. Venable was used as a pinch runner in last night's game. He went 0 for 1 in the first game of this series. Schmidt will have to keep an eye on Schofield, who runs pretty well. He has 6 stolen bases. Last year he had 19. Max Venable, originally a 3rd-round pick of the Dodgers back in 1976. There goes Schofield. The pitch is high and away, and the throw is also high and away. Schofield steals second. That's his 7th stolen base as he gets into scoring position.
Well, he got the kind of jump he needed to steal that base. But if that ball hadn't tailed quite so much, it would have been a close play at second base. Yeah, but Melvin can see that out of the corner of his eyes that Schofield has taken off with a huge jump at first base, so he tries to make up the difference. They're pulling out all the stops here tonight.
The 1-1 pitch to Venable. Lined into left field for a base hit. Schofield will be held at third. Good throw to the plate by Phil Bradley. To the top of the order doing the job tonight. Schofield, the leadoff hitter, with a home run and a single and a stolen base. And Max Venable, in his first start since being recalled, is 2 for 2 with 2 singles.
Second baseman.
Schmidt got that ball up in Max Venable's eyes as well. There's not Schofield's not going to go too far in a ball hit like that about 100 feet on the outfield grass, but they've got the runners well positioned right now to score some more runs.
And here's Johnny Ray, who grounded into a double play his first time up. Schofield is at third, Venable at first. 2-1 Angels. Dave Schmidt has now given up 5 hits. Lifted into center field. Schofield tags at third as Steve Finley makes the catch, and Schofield will score to make it 3-1. So Ray with a sacrifice fly and a run batted in.
Well, you got to do what it takes to score runs. Schofield wasn't satisfied with getting on base. He stole second and put himself in a scoring position, moved to third on another base hit, and then inevitably ended up scoring on a fly ball. So they're getting what they need right now to score some runs here early in the game.
Dave Schmidt and the Orioles can't afford to give up too many runs the way Chuck Finley has been pitching. California leading 3-1. Wally Joyner flied to left his first time up. I mentioned his power shortage. He's hit just 2 home runs this year. And the ball is thrown away by Schmidt. Venable will go to second, maybe more. Heading for third. Milligan's throw is in time. Out at third. There's an old adage in baseball, never make the third out at third, and that's what Venable did. He got a little greedy, could have stopped at second, might have been able to score on a base hit, but instead tried to go to third and was nailed on a strong throw by Milligan.
Well, I can understand his wishing and his thinking here to go to third base. He figured there's no way that anybody was going to be able to get him, not with that ball rattling around near the stands right there, but it took this kind of a throw here to get him, and a quick tag by Worthington.
So Schmidt is charged with a throwing error on the errant pickoff attempt, and Milligan shoots Venable down at third to end the inning, but the Angels get 2 runs and now lead the Orioles 3.
Get to your Jeep dealer and get a great deal during the final days of the event of a lifetime. Get 0% financing on all 08 Jeep vehicles like Grand Cherokee.
Plus, make no payments till summer on all Jeep vehicles, including the new all Jeep Liberty.
And the fuel-efficient 28 miles per gallon Jeep Patriot.
Plus, you'll be covered by the best warranty in the business, the Jeep Lifetime Powertrain Warranty.
Blaze a trail to your Jeep dealer today, because the event of a lifetime ends soon.
This is Maya, and if she doesn't look too happy, she isn't. Maya, like many people, has too much credit card debt. How about you? Do you have $5, $10, $15, or even $25,000 or more in credit card debt? Are your creditors harassing you at all hours? Are you tired of going through life feeling like Maya? I'm Todd Cook, founder of 800 Credit Card Debt. Day in and day out, we help people just like Maya. Regular people who got in over their heads in credit card debt and want their lives back on track. At 800 Credit Card Debt, we'll help you find a payoff plan you can live with. One that could work with your creditors to eliminate penalties, lower your interest rates, and even reduce what you owe. Don't let the word bankruptcy enter your thoughts. Call us, because you can pay off your credit cards and still have money left over each month. And the best part is, you'll feel like yourself again. Maya did. Make the call today.
Get rid of your credit card debt once and for all. Call 1-800-841-7380.
In 2006, the Georgetown Hoyas men's basketball team battled their way into the NCAA Sweet 16. In 2007, they fought their way to the NCAA Final Four. How far will the Hoyas go this season? Michigan, UConn, Notre Dame, Syracuse, Louisville. Season tickets for Georgetown Hoyas men's basketball are on sale now. For information, visit guhoyas.com or call 202-687-2449. Reserve your tickets now.
Craig Worthington will lead off the bottom of the third for the Orioles. The Angels leading 3-1. The Orioles with a chance to open up some distance between themselves and the Red Sox and Yankees. Both Boston and New York losing today. Strike one to Craig Worthington, who's looking for his first hit in the series. He's 0 for 5 through the first two games. Chuck Finley has been very tough on the American League East. He's 6-2 against them this year. 1 ball, 1 strike. The big left-hander with 15 strikeouts against the Orioles in Anaheim in late June. 15 Ks, the most by an Angel pitcher since Mike Witt struck out 16 Seattle Mariners in 1984. 1-2.
It's not an accident that the Angels are in first place with the best record in the majors. The primary reason, in my estimation, they'll lie 60 feet 6 inches from home plate. Every member of the rotation has at least 7 victories, and that team ERA of below 3 tells a story.
Foul ball. Oh, Mike Witt didn't pitch well last year. There were stories that he'd lost velocity on his fastball and his curveball wasn't as sharp. He's turned things around. Kirk McCaskill has rebounded from 2 years of injuries. Bert Blyleven has been a big addition to this club, providing some veteran leadership. Hit foul out of play. Rookie Jim Abbott has pitched well in his first year in the big leagues. And Finley has really improved this year. He had some difficulties with the Angels' previous manager, Cookie Rojas. He felt that Cookie was taking him out too early in games. But he's flourished under Doug Rader and pitching coach Marcel Latchman. Grounded to Dick Schofield, and he throws out Worthington for the first time.
Batting ninth, the center fielder, number 10.
Going to bring up the center fielder, Steve Finley. So it'll be Chuck Finley against Steve Finley. They are not related, by the way. This has already been an eventful day for Steve Finley. His sister, Ann, is engaged to a boxer by the name of Darren Van Horn. Do you know that name, John?
No.
He's the IBF junior middleweight champ, or at least was until this afternoon when he lost his title to Gianfranco Rossi on a national televised fight this afternoon.
I've heard of Rossi. Carlo and Rossi.
He's the new champion. Who? Yeah, no, that's the wrong one. 1 ball, 1 strike.
Well, Finley's only been in the rotation starting last couple of years.
Lifted foul down the left field line.
But he encompasses the pitching traits a pitching coach wants from a pitcher. And terribly difficult, I would think, from the slants of a left-handed hitter right here.
He's a big guy, imposing figure on the mound at 6'6" and 215 pounds. Through the glove and into center field for a base hit. Steve Finley singles off Chuck Finley.
Well, no matter how you looked at that confrontation there, Finley was going to come out ahead. He felt as though he should have had this sharp ground ball up the middle. You can really help yourself if you can flag one of those down every now and then.
When you're 6'6", you've got a long way to reach down with a few of those ground balls. I guess you could say these two teams are tied for the league lead in Finleys with one apiece.
I can't think of another.
Here's Phil Bradley, who popped to second his first time up. He's always hit Chuck Finley pretty well. Hitting everybody pretty well right now. 13 for 19 in the leadoff spot. Grounded foul off third base, but against Chuck Finley, Bradley is now 5 for 8 in his career.
Well, that doesn't surprise me, Mel, because he shows a trait to go to that off-speed pitch of his to get people out, and of course Bradley waits well.
Don Mattingly, the Yankees, has had the longest hitting streak in the American League this year, a 17-gamer, and with a hit tonight, Phil Bradley would extend his to 17 straight. Way high, almost a wild pitch, saved by Parish.
Imagine when somebody's walking up there with a 16-gamer, you try to sometimes overthrow the ball to make sure he doesn't accomplish his task at the plate. That's what happened.
Steve Finley is running. Parish's throw is not in time, and Finley remains perfect. He's now 9 for 9 in stolen base attempts. And that was a tough combination to run on. A left-handed pitcher with a pretty good move, and catcher Lance Parish, who has a very strong arm.
Well, you got it, Mel. No one did anything wrong. It's just that the throw was a little wide at the bag. Had it been on the money, they certainly would have had Finley at second base. But everybody did what they wanted to do, except that the throw was just a little to the left of the bag.
Finley with a big lead at second. And it's 3-1 now to Phil Bradley. We've seen a lot of pitchers go to really two different moves to the runner at first, a little slide step if they're anticipating a running situation, and a regular high leg kick, and that's what Finley ran on that time. As Chuck Finley had that leg up high, and Steve got a good jump on it. 3-1 Angels, bottom of the third. Three and two. Phil Bradley with 15 hits in his last 5 games. Only one Oriole has had more hits over a 5-game stretch. That was Jerry Adair in 1962. He had 16 hits in 5 games. Ball 4, and Phil Bradley draws a walk.
Yeah, he threw that pitch exactly where you've got to throw Phil Bradley. A little up and out over the plate, but he didn't get Phil to bite on it.
Last year, Chuck Finley was plagued by control problems, but this year in 124 2/3 innings, he'd walked 40, so he's shown a lot of improvement. Bill Ripken comes up with runners at first and second. He grounded to third his first time up against Finley. Billy has also hit him pretty well. He's 4 for 12 lifetime against him. Good speed on the bases with Steve Finley at second, Phil Bradley at first. Steve Finley is running, and it's fouled off. He had third base stolen.
Yeah, it looked like Ripken was just committed himself to the protection swing right there. I never used to try that as a hitter at the plate because I figured if someone was trying to steal third base, he either knew in his mind that he had it made and he didn't need my help at the plate.
This may sound like a stupid question, but when you see a runner going like that, John, and you're swinging, how difficult is it to intentionally swing and miss? Is there some fear that you'll make contact?
Well, when someone has got that kind of velocity, you've got to do some computer type thinking. I don't think that's possible.
So you're saying it is difficult to intentionally swing and miss?
Absolutely. I mean, you've been trained for years to swing and hit the ball.
Low, 1 ball, 1 strike.
But we mentioned that Finley has all the traits you want to see in a starting pitcher. And he works ahead for the most part. He mixes his pitches well, and that's something that he has to do. He challenges hitters when he has to, and he works quickly. You know, you keep the defense on their toes when you do that. And he's a tough customer. The team plays well behind him, even though he hasn't gotten a lot of runs. So all those things work in his favor.
Pickoff attempt. If he'd made the throw, they might have had Steve Finley.
Now, you take your lead off the pitcher out there. You take as much as you feel comfortable with, regardless of whether or not one of the middle infielders is standing on the bag or not. You play it just like a first baseman was holding you on. So Finley doesn't want to let Finley get a walking lead, or Finley's going to steal a base.
Bill Ripken chases a pitch low and away, and it's 1-2.
He showed him preponderance to go to that off-speed forkball of his when he gets into a jam. And we're seeing it now in this inning. You can see the long fingers he has. He can just wrap them right around that ball.
It's tough to lay off of a pitch when you have 2 strikes on you, but that's what they've got to try to do if he's throwing that ball out of the strike zone. Finley checking Finley. Steve is again stretched out to a big lead.
Well, it's easy to
yet to be thrown out attempting to steal.
Exactly. That's
9 for 9.
Yep, that's why you got to keep an eye on him. You know, it's easy to say and difficult to do at the plate, but the one thing you got to remember when someone has that good of a pitch, that good forkball on the mound, is that you got to make sure what's coming and where it's at. So you can't lunge at the ball.
Way inside, a fastball, and it's 2-2. Might have been one of the reasons that Chuck Finley didn't throw the forkball there with a runner at second. Steve Finley may be thinking, well, he might throw something off speed here. Maybe that forkball in the dirt. Maybe I can get a good jump. Parish might have trouble throwing me out. A little battle of the minds going on here.
Well, this way at second base, you know, if he's watching the signs that Parish is giving, he can try to guess along with the catcher and the pitcher if he can identify the scenario of events.
Ball 3 and the count is full.
And if he can pick out which is a fastball and which is a forkball, it helps. Matter of fact, he's likely to run in this spot right here, even though Finley might be likely to throw that forkball.
Steve Finley at second. Phil Bradley is at first. And a 3-2 pitch coming up to Bill Ripken.
Tell you what, Parish is keyed for this moment right here.
The runners are going, and it's lined into right field for a base hit. Bill Ripken will score, and Bradley heading for third. He's in safely, but Bill Ripken is trapped. He's got to try to stay in a rundown long enough to get Bradley home, but he's tagged out by Johnny Ray. Well, Bill Ripken singles to right. Finley comes around to score to make it 3-2. Bradley goes to third, but he was unable to get home, and Bill Ripken was caught in a rundown and tagged out.
Well, he made good contact on this pitch right here, and Finley threw him a heater, so consequently got good wood on the ball. A lot of things happening right here with Finley running on that pitch to the plate. He's going to score easily, and then of course Bradley's going to end up at third base. So the only thing that can happen is what happened right here. Billy got caught up in this rundown right here. But with it, you got a guy on the mound that has allowed just a little over two runs per game. You know, you don't want to exhaust your opportunities.
Well, Bill Ripken is out 9-6-4, and there are 2 outs. It's 3-2 California with Cal Ripken up. He takes a pitch for a strike.
But that was a nice defensive play by their inner defense right there. Contain that runner at first base and end up getting him.
These are the 2 best defensive teams in the American League. The Orioles are first, the Angels are second. One ball, 1 strike to Cal Ripken, who hit the ball hard his first time up. He hit a sinking liner to center field, and Devon White made a fine running catch to end the first inning. Strike and a pitch that appeared to be high and maybe inside. Cal certainly doesn't like the call by Jim McKeon.
Well, you got to rely on an umpire early in the game to establish his strike zone. And if the guy on the mound can find it without the hitter benefiting, then it's a huge plus for him.
2 balls, 2 strikes. Cal is 3 for 19 lifetime against Chuck Finley. 3 runs, 5 hits, no errors for California. 2 runs, 3 hits, and 1 error for the Orioles. Finley with 8 complete games, tops on the staff. Last year he had only 2 the entire season. And Cal strikes out, but Parish makes the throw to first to retire the side. So it's a strikeout, 2-3 on the putout, but the Orioles pick up a run on 2 hits and leave a man at the end of 3. California leading the Orioles 3-2.
Reasons why college basketball is better. Number 16. Teams don't wait until the last 15 minutes to play. Reasons for college basketball fans to cheer? 150. Because Masson carries over 150 NCAA basketball games. Basketball where players listen to their coaches, pass the ball, and play as a team. True Hoops fans know college basketball on Masson. This game is true.
Top of the 4th inning, the Angels ahead 3-2. Wally Joyner will be back up at the plate. He was hitting into 3rd when Dave Schmidt tried to pick off Max Venable. Threw the ball away and it rolled down the right field line, but Randy Milligan picked the ball up and fired a strike to 3rd and nailed Venable to end the inning. So Joyner returns to the plate. He flied to left in the 1st inning. Ball 1 to Wally, who in 1987 hit 34 home runs. Last year he dropped to 13. This year he's hit only 2.
He's forgotten how to hit home runs. He's lost the knack at the plate. No, I don't know, Mel. Maybe he's not lifting weights anymore. You know, it's hard to explain such a deficiency over the last couple of years.
And Dave Schmidt falls behind 3-0 on Joyner.
You got to have something to motivate you to hit home runs. Usually a heady workout schedule will do that.
I mean, money won't do it.
No, I don't think it ever has.
Hits this one deep to right center, but it's playable for Steve Finley. They really should do more throwing to strengthen their arms than to lift weights and work on these machines and free weights.
They should do more stretching. You can do all the weights you want as long as you entertain a proper stretching schedule. You know, you got to incorporate that into your workout.
It's appropriate that Brian Downing is hitting as we talk about weightlifting, because he was really one of the first guys to go full force into the weights. Filled himself up from a scrawny kind of guy to a Muscle Beach type.
I'll tell you, of all the people to question weightlifting, Zimmer, he's got a weight in his head.
Yeah, metal plate.
But I think it's certainly helped Brian. It's made him the hitter that he's become throughout his career.
The only weights that Chuck Hartenstein has ever lifted had handles attached to them.
And coasters attached to the bottom of the glasses.
Only kidding, Charlie, if you're watching. Popped up into right center. It's going to drop in for a base hit. Well, Brian Downing finds the Bermuda Triangle.
Center fielder.
That's the 6th California hit.
White.
I think you might get some argument from the Orioles about the weightlifting. Look at the success of a Mickey Tettleton, and the Orioles have really stayed away from the big injuries this year. Sure, they've had a few pitchers on the DL with muscle tears and pulls and things of that nature, but no major injuries. Doesn't seem to be as many injuries this year as in the past. That might also have something to do with the fact it's a very young team. Strike one.
That also may be what has separated them from other teams in the division. No key injuries to key personnel, plus the fact that they're motivated and they're hungry.
The 0-1 pitch to Devon White. 1 ball, 1 strike. White struck out his first time up. Angels 3, Orioles 2. Brian Downing at first base. White thinking about bunting for a base hit, and it's 2-1.
Well, he has the skills not only hit home runs, but to lay down a bunt and beat it out.
Born in Kingston, Jamaica, but grew up in New York. Grew up idolizing Willie Mays. And Downing draws a throw. He doesn't run very often. He has no stolen bases. Has been caught twice. The Angels took the lead in the first inning when the leadoff batter Dick Schofield homered. Randy Milligan homered in the second to tie it up. And the Angels scored twice in the third to regain the lead 3-1. The Orioles picked up a run in the bottom of the third to make it 3-2 California. White hits a soft liner into right field for a base hit, and Downing goes to second. That's 7 hits now off Dave Schmidt in 3 1/3 innings.
But this is another inning that Schmidt is going to have to struggle through successful if he wants to get out of it rather than runs being scored. On a strong rebound from a struggling rotation is really all that manager Frank Robinson needs right now. Either that or he's got to compensate with 4 starters and 7 relievers, or possibly add fresh talent. You know, those are a couple options, but lest we not forget, you know, this is a team right now leading by 5 games. So you're allowed some leeway.
Mark Thurman begins to throw in the Oriole bullpen as Schmidt has run into problems. Runners at first and second and 1 out. Tony Armas grounded to second his first time up. Hit hard. Cal Ripken goes to Bill Ripken over to first. Double play. Just what the doctor ordered. No runs, 2 hits, 1 left at the end of 3 1/2. It's still California 3 and the Orioles.
Now on DVD, it's MLB Bloopers, the funny side of baseball. Get ready for all the hits, misses, and some things we just can't explain. Jam-packed with pranks, practical jokes, and bloopers. Featuring your favorite stars from Major League Baseball. MLB Bloopers, the funny side of baseball. Now on DVD.
So you went with an American car, huh? I did. It's a Chevy Cobalt. What do you think? Dad, I love this car. It's great gas mileage. It's better coverage than a Toyota or Honda. And they have great things to say about it on Edmunds.com.
Looks like somebody's been doing their homework. Good job, kiddo. Come on, take your old man for a spin.
Okay.
Get a 2008 Cobalt Sedan LS with $2,000 total cash back through January 2nd during Chevy's Red Tag event.
Homeowners, remember why you got an adjustable rate mortgage in the first place? To keep your payments low. But now that your adjustable payments have shot up, what can you do? Call Countrywide. Refinance to a 30-year fixed. Today's fixed rates are near all-time lows, so you get the low monthly payments you want, and your payments will never change no matter how high rates climb. No one can do what Countrywide can. Apply now to lock in your low fixed rate. Call 1-800-643-6612.
Third down. Remove the chains or give up the ball. The Ravens D stopped teams from converting 7 out of 10 times.
This ain't no party. This ain't no disco. This ain't no fooling around.
Ravens Extra, the maximum Ravens postgame show after the Ravens-Seahawks game, Sunday on MASN. MASN means maximum Ravens. Be there.
Bottom of the fourth, the Angels leading 3-2 as Mickey Tettleton leads off. He grounded to short his first time up against Chuck Finley. Finley has allowed 2 runs on 3 hits, walked 1, struck out 1. Big left-hander has really turned his career around after losing 15 games a year ago. He came up with that nasty forkball, mixed it in with that rising fastball, and became a winner. And earlier this year, on May the 26th, he came within 4 outs, becoming the first left-hander in 72 years to no-hit the Red Sox in Fenway Park. Foul ball, strike 1. Jody Reed looped his single to the outfield with 2 outs in the 8th to break up his no-hit effort. But he's had a superb season. Going for his 11th win tonight. Made the All-Star team. Said when he was approaching that no-hitter at Fenway, nobody would talk to him. He said, I tried to get a conversation going in the dugout, but nobody would sit within 10 feet of me. He said, I spent the first 2 innings sitting on the bat rack since there was no room on the bench, and by the 7th, I could have parked my car there. The old baseball ritual, leave the guy alone if he's pitching a no-hitter.
Yeah, that's pretty typical.
2-1.
So now you got Finley and you got Parish complaining about the job that McKean's doing behind the plate. Seems to go back and forth between both ball clubs.
Hit hard, base hit down the left field line. Venable will play it out of the corner as Tettleton digs for second. He's into the leadoff double. So the looper delivers his 4th hit of the series, and the Fruit Loops are out.
See, once the ball gets by you in this part of the park down third base, you're generally looking at a 2-base hit. That's why I'm always in favor, Mel, of just scooting over and taking that extra base hit away from guys and hit the ball on the ground. You see this happen twice a night, it seems like. So you got to keep that in mind when you play in this ballpark here. But another runner in scoring position. So these pitchers aren't getting much of a break when they come out there to pitch an inning.
And Randy Milligan is up, trying to get the runner over to third. Strike 1. I was talking with Frank Robinson before the game about why Bill Ripken was batting second. We gave you the reasons earlier. He said Milligan could also hit the number 2 spot. And I said, yeah, but could he bunt? He said, no, he can't bunt at all, but he has a high on-base percentage. He hit the ball on the right side. One ball, 1 strike. Randy homered over the left field fence in the 2nd inning. Angels 3, Orioles 2. The tying run at second with nobody out. One ball, 2 strikes.
No, if Milligan could hit anywhere, then he could also lead off because of his on-base percentage. You know, it's not inconceivable that you could put a guy in that number 1 spot who can hit home runs. Several other players have done it in their careers.
looked like the forkball.
Yeah, that's right. But it's because of his willingness to get up there and be patient and to accept a walk when it's given to him that allows him to amass such a terrific on-base percentage. I don't see many hitters nowadays that willing to stand up there with that kind of patience. Young players anyway, and being able to perform as he has done so far this year.
There goes the runner. The pitch is low and away. The throw to third, not in time. Mickey Tettleton steals third. Well, that brings to mind a recent game here in a situation in which Tettleton tried to steal third. Craig Worthington was called for interference on the catcher. That was against Milwaukee. Mike Heath was the catcher. And that proved to be a pivotal play in the game.
Well, here he sneaks in under the cover of darkness right here. You see Parish going up over the top. But that play could have gone either way right there. But it was because, once again, Parish's throw was off the mark that the Orioles benefited from the call.
And Mickey got a good pitch to run on. It was low and outside. Parish had to reach out and get it and then come back the other way to throw to third. That's Tettleton's second stolen base, and now a fly ball will score him. Milligan lays off the high fastball, showing that good patience, and it's 3-2.
But you know, the umpire that day, Ted Hendry, he just completely botched the call as we've gone over so many times. You could see Parish straightening up right there and having to throw the ball right over Milligan. So that call benefited Detroit, but you don't see anything like that happening here this evening.
Popped out of play. I believe I said that call was against Milwaukee. That's incorrect. It was against the Tigers here, with Mike Heath catching, and Heath actually stepped on the hitter's foot. Craig Worthington was the batter, and Heath, as he threw to third, stepped on his foot, and the umpire called interference on the hitter.
Right.
Called Worthington out and sent Tettleton back to second. That really took the starch out of the Orioles' rally.
He's fouling everything off, all of Finley's good pitches. The fork ball, the good fastball up, the one just off the plate. You know, it's not often a manager can stand in a dugout there and watch his catcher steal third base with no outs.
Milligan tried to check his swing, but went around on a high fastball, and he strikes out.
Well, you're looking at a ball right there that probably approached 90 miles an hour. Yeah, he just wheeled back and just that ball, the sound of that ball going in there just like that, just slightly out of the strike zone, but it gets in there so quickly the hitter has a hard time committing himself.
Now there is one out. Tettleton at third represents a tying run, and Bob Melvin is the hitter. He was called out on strikes his first time up. Strike one.
I'll tell you what, Mel, you don't pitch to a little over 2 ERA and not be able to get out of these kinds of jams. And another run would exceed his normal allotment.
Grounded to short. Tettleton's trying to come home, and he will. The Orioles tie it up on a ground out by Bob Melvin as Tettleton took off on contact and scored to tie it 3-3.
That's why they got the run, not only for him stealing third base with no outs, but because he went on contact, didn't wait to see what transpired here in the field. You know, he's coming home regardless. You know, if even Howell would have caught this ball at third base, he probably still would have scored.
So the Orioles manufacturing a run, a double by Tettleton. He stole third, scores on a ground out by Bob Melvin, his 18th run batted in, and we're tied 3-3, and it's ball one to Mike Devereaux. Devereaux grounded to short his first time up against Chuck Finley. That's hit hard to left, but right at Max Venable. The Orioles tie it up, one run on one hit, nobody left, and at the end of four, it's the Orioles 3 and the Angels 3. This is the Home Team Sports Cable Network.
Come to the Mercedes-Benz winter event now through January 2nd and see all the exciting rides we have to offer. There's sure to be something for every wish list.
I was hurt badly in an accident, and my medical bills were enormous.
I couldn't work. I couldn't pay my bills.
I don't trust the insurance companies at all. That's why I called Nichols, Bourne & Lundeen.
Nichols, Bourne & Lundeen took care of everything.
All I had to do was concentrate on getting better.
The people at Nichols, Bourne & Lundeen made sure that I had the right type of medical care that I needed.
They made sure that the insurance companies paid my bills so I didn't end up in debt after missing so much time from work and having such big expenses.
It didn't cost me a cent up front.
I couldn't do as good on my own. Nichols, Bourne & Lundeen represented me and got me the cash settlement I felt I deserved.
Nichols, Bourne & Lundeen, they're about helping you.
These guys are good lawyers.
I would recommend Nichols, Bourne & Lundeen to anyone.
For a free consultation on your rights, call 1-888-834-2288. 1-888-834-2288.
This holiday season, give the gift of Orioles baseball. Pick up a holiday 4-pack and guarantee your seats for 2008 Orioles opening day at Camden Yards. For tickets and more gift ideas, call 888-848-BIRD or visit Orioles.com.
The Orioles and Angels tied 3-3 in Game 3 of this 4-game series. We'll be here again tomorrow afternoon as these teams wind up this 4-game set. And then the Seattle Mariners come to town. The matchups for tomorrow, it'll be Bob Malachy against Mike Witt. Lance Parish, who walloped a long home run over the center field fence in the third, will lead off the 5th inning against Dave Schmidt. He's given up 3 runs on 7 hits. He's walked none, struck out 1. Parish, the ex-Detroit Tiger, who suffered through 2 very poor years of the Phillies. Booed unmercifully by the Philadelphia fans. Bothered by injuries. It's 2 nightmarish seasons. He hit .215 last year for the Phillies, a career low.
Well, that's why coming to Southern California was such an uplifting experience for him, because basically he's coming home.
He lifts it high in the air to right. Playable for Mike Devereaux. 1 down. What a contrast in fans from Philadelphia to Anaheim. Probably the most vociferous in baseball to the most laid back.
Well, it's a social event in Anaheim, much the same as it used to be up in Toronto until they found out how to play baseball up there.
In Anaheim, it's the 6th inning. We better get on the freeway and beat some of that traffic.
Yeah.
They have great attendance in Anaheim, but they never stick around to the end. Jack Howell popped to short his first time up. Ball 1. 3 runs, 7 hits, no errors for the Angels. 3 runs, 4 hits, and 1 error for the Orioles. And Schmidt falls behind 2-0.
You see, against this guy especially, he's got a nice power stroke. And he can hit the ball out. He can turn around on that fastball. So you have to avoid that pitch over the heart of the plate.
3-0.
Well, he didn't want to give in to him.
Smith doesn't appear to be real sharp tonight. Been behind on most of the hitters. He's given up a lot of hits. 7 in 4 innings. He's allowed 2 home runs. Ball 4. So Howell walks on 4 pitches.
You know, with the exception of the 2nd inning, he's had people out there on base. So he's become accustomed now to seeing visiting a batsman out there standing on the bases. So that can impinge your success on the mound. So he's got to find out some way to get around something like this. And of course, the armless double play last inning helped a lot.
In only the 2nd inning, as Dave Schmidt retired the side in order. Dick Schofield is 2 for 2. He had a home run to start the game to give the Angels the lead. Singled and scored in the 3rd inning. He has 6 hits so far in the series.
He's made several fine defensive plays as well. So, you have to factor that into what he's done here in this series.
Howell does not have a stolen base this year.
So consequently, you would pay much less attention to him on first base and try to concentrate your efforts on someone who's had a good series to date.
Howell with no steals this year, 2 all of last season, and 4 the year before. So stolen bases are few and far between.
Sometimes the impetus that you want to give somebody like that is maybe a hit and run play like that.
Strike call.
That would be one way that you could put him into motion, even though he didn't have a lot of speed or base running ability.
Schofield last year for the Angels hit .239. They've always encouraged him to cut down on his swing, make better contact, try to get on base a little more often. There goes the runner. They're playing hit and run, and it's grounded to short. Cal Ripken's only play to first, so they stay out of the double play by starting the runner.
See, as we speculated, that's one way that you can use the services of Howell on base. If you start him in that kind of a situation, you don't wait for a play to develop. I mean, if they did that, then they'd have been going back out into the field defensively again.
That brings up Max Venable, who in his first start since coming up from AAA has gone 2 for 2, a pair of singles. Venable has played with the Giants, Montreal, the Reds, and now with California. He was hitting .275 at Edmonton when he was called up. Ball 1.
So when you play baseball, especially professionally for many years, you look for something to hopefully rejuvenate your career. It's happened to Parish this year and coming from Philadelphia to Southern Cal, and maybe it's going to happen to Max Venable here coming to this organization and getting a chance to play here second half of this season.
Strike call. Toronto leads Oakland 6-1 in the 5th inning. Mike Flanagan facing Dave Stewart in that game. Kansas City beat the Yankees 7-1 today, and Minnesota down Boston 3-2. So the Orioles with a chance to open up a little daylight over the Red Sox and the Yankees.
Well, in essence, it's a free game. You do with it with what you please.
Out of play, and it's 1 ball and 2 strikes to Max Venable.
You know what's happened during the course of the day. You know the teams immediately behind you have lost. You win, you push them back a little further. You lose, everything remains the same. You got to have that kind of luck to win a pennant. And most importantly, you make your breaks for you over the course of a long season.
Grounded up the middle, and it's through for a base hit. Jack Howell is in to score, and the Angels are back on top 4-3. That looked like a pitch that was right down the middle of the plate, and Venable is now 3 for 3.
He couldn't have hit it out there in the outfield or between the middle infielders any more softly than he did. But the point is, he got it and hit it in the right direction right there. You know, it took forever to get out in the outfield grass. A desperate effort there by Ripken to keep the ball in the infield failed, but see, they put Howell in motion. He got to second base, and then he scored, come around and scored the go-ahead run. They made it happen. They manufactured that run.
4-3 California. Let's see if Venable is running.
Send them all.
Johnny Ray is the batter. He's grounded into a double play and brought home a run with a sacrifice fly in the 3rd inning. Hit hard down the right field line, but it's foul. Oh, 0-1 to Johnny Ray, veteran second baseman who was acquired from the Pirates in 1987. Last year he hit .306. Became the first Angel 300 hitter since Rod Carew in 1983.
Well, he earns his keep with the lumber.
pitch out, but Venable is not running.
The thing about Johnny Ray is that, his defense has improved too. And that's something that they were hoping for.
Good stop by Bob Melvin on a pitch in the dirt. And it's 2-1 the count now to Johnny Ray, who has 18 doubles. He's normally among the league leaders in that category. Last year he had 42 doubles, tied for second in the major leagues. And Al Jackson, the Orioles pitching coach, is heading out to the mound to talk with Schmidt. Mark Thurman is throwing in the bullpen.
He doesn't want David to dig himself a deeper hole. As we see Thurman getting loose. He's probably loose out there in the bully.
You could almost bring him in here and turn Ray around and make him bat right-handed. He's been a much better hitter from the left side.
Well, you as a manager, Frank, would have to be willing to make that kind of an adjustment right now. Now, umpire Jim McKean's going to go out and say, well, let's speed this up a little bit. This game's moving along fairly rapidly. Let's continue.
Whatever happened to the 2-hour game?
That's probably went the way of the consumption of white bread. Do you eat white bread anymore? So wheat, right? Whole wheat, oat bran.
An occasional slice of white bread.
Toasted.
Pumpernickel once in a while. Again, we're having audio problems. We apologize for that. Hit foul, and it's 2 balls, 2 strikes to Johnny Ray. Eat a lot of cornbread. 4 runs, 8 hits, no errors for the Angels. 3 runs, 4 hits, and 1 error for the Orioles. Max Venable at first. Ray pops it up, and Cal Ripken will have the play. But the Angels regain the lead as they get 1 run on 1 hit. They go to the bottom of the 5th with California ahead.
Who do I draft first? Quarterback or running back?
Steven Jackson or LaDainian Tomlinson?
Hey, when do I draft a kicker?
How many running backs should I draft, huh?
And who's a surefire rookie, huh?
Who's the better fantasy QB, Peyton Manning or Tom Brady?
Who's got the better defense, the Ravens or the Bears?
Who's a super sleeper pick?
Chad Johnson or Marvin Harrison, huh?
Who's a draft day bargain?
Anita Marks and her fantasy football experts show you how to win your league. Fantasy Blitz, tomorrow at 3 p.m. on MASN. Be there.
Sometimes kids just don't see it. Steroids can ruin bones, tendons, organs, and dreams. Talk to your kids about the dangers of steroids. Visit drugfree.org.
Welcome back to Sports Legends here at Camden Yards. Tom Davis together with the former Orioles pitcher Dave Johnson, who came up during that why not season of 1989. It was kind of remarkable that the Orioles had 2 rookies of the year that year. Craig Worthington at third base, Greg Olson as the closer and pitcher. So 2 different services, 2 different rookies of the year. You know, it's very rare that ever happens in baseball where you got 2 guys on the same team winning 2 Rookie of the Year honors.
Well, and I guess the reason that happened on that ball club is because we had so many young players. I mean, I remember coming up, actually a couple weeks before coming up, there was so many guys that would come up and they get hurt. Tibbs had a pretty good year, was 5-0, got hurt. Mickey Weston got called up from Rochester, had a pretty good game or 2, got hurt. And it just seemed like everybody that came up would have some success, and then they would get hurt. And I remember being in Rochester on a disabled list for about maybe 4 or 5 weeks, and they were calling everybody. I mean, they were calling the bat boy up, they were calling people in the stands up, they were calling everybody up, and here I was on the DL, and this was my opportunity to get a chance to go up. Fortunately, I did get a chance later on to come up, but having Worthington and Olson, both guys rookies, Rookie of the Year, it just really kind of was what that team was all about. Guys getting an opportunity for the first time to show their wares and establish themselves, and they both had great years.
And some other guys that got a chance to show themselves Brady Anderson, also Steve Finley, and Mike Devereaux, 3 young outfielders on that 89 Why Not team. We'll have the second half of the Orioles game against the Angels with Mike Devereaux hitting that home run as we continue on the Mid-Atlantic Sports Network in just a moment.
Now on DVD, it's MLB Bloopers, the funny side of baseball. Get ready for all the hits, misses, and some things we just can't explain. Jam-packed with pranks, practical jokes, and bloopers. Featuring your favorite stars from Major League Baseball. MLB Bloopers, the funny side of baseball, now on DVD.
Something strange happens to people this time of year. They look for reasons to buy a new Toyota. We call it the Toyotathon phenomenon. Celebrate Toyotathon with a new Tundra and get $3,000 cash back or 0% APR financing for 5 years on any model. Or choose Toyota Tacoma and get $500 cash back or APR financing from 0%. There's never been a better time to get the new Toyota you've always wanted or needed. Hurry in. The Toyotathon phenomenon is going on now.
Last year, the Ravens defense allowed the fewest yards and fewest points in the NFL. Football isn't won in the end zone, it's won in the trenches.
This ain't no party. This ain't no disco. This ain't no fooling around.
28 interceptions, 40 takeaways. Football is a simple game. If the other team doesn't have the ball, they can't score.
Here come the Bengals. Here comes Cleveland. Here comes Pittsburgh, PA. Here come the Chargers. Here comes New England. We're always ready to play. This ain't no party. This ain't no disco. This ain't no fooling around. Our game is football. Our game is smash mouth. The only way we know how.
Ravens Extra postgame show follows every Ravens game. Masson means maximum Ravens. Be there.
Look at nearly sold out Memorial Stadium. 46,000 was the estimate prior to the start of the game, but I would imagine the crowd is even bigger than that. And another big crowd expected tomorrow afternoon for the final game of this series. Craig Worthington leads off the 5th. The Angels ahead 4-3. He hits it high in the air to left, but it's playable for Max Venable. 1 out. The Angels took the lead in the first inning on a home run by Dick Schofield. The Orioles tied it up on a Randy Milligan home run in the second. And the Angels regained the lead with 2 runs in the third to go up 3-1. The Orioles picked up a run in the bottom of the third inning, another in the fourth to tie it, and the Angels scored in the top of the 5th to go back in front 4-3. Steve Finley is 1 for 1. He singled and scored in the third inning. He also had a stolen base. I think all he needs is playing time. It's a good-looking hitter. Little chin music, and it's ball 1. He's also an exceptional defensive outfielder. Going to steal a lot of bases. He has one tonight. He's 9 for 9 in stolen base attempts. Strike call, 1-1. Chuck Finley against Steve Finley. Drag bunt effort is pop foul.
Tell you what, Mel, those who maintain that pitching and defense control the destiny of a good ball club need to look no further than the 2 ball clubs that they've got here on the field right now. The Angels have gotten it out of the starting rotation, as you mentioned earlier. The Orioles have gotten it out of the rotation and also the bullpen and oftentimes during the course of this season. So the offense, anything the offense can give both teams is a big plus.
Down goes Finley.
Chuck Finley got the kind of respect that he needed from Steve Finley up at the plate, a left-handed hitter, when he buzzed his chin on that first pitch. That kind of gave the impression maybe to Chuck that, hey, well, maybe now that I can work the plate like I want. You know, you got to show the willingness to come inside, and that he did, even though he didn't impress Steve Finley with that fastball under his chin. But still, he got the respect he needed.
Catcher Lance Parish has said that pitching inside has been a key to the Angels' pitching success this year. Ball 1 to Phil Bradley. He says you've got to be able to instill a little fear on occasion. The object is never to hit anyone or knock them down, but you can't be afraid of hitting someone. If by accident you hit them, it's part of the game. And he said that pitching inside also opens up the outside part of the plate for the pitchers.
That's the way I always looked at it.
1 ball, 1 strike to Phil Bradley, who's popped to second and walked. He needs a hit to keep his streak alive. He's hit safely in 16 straight games. One and 2. Chuck Finley seems to be settling into a real good groove now, which could spell trouble.
That's one thing you don't want to see right now. They put pressure on him the last 3 innings. That's something you've got to keep up against a good pitcher.
Grounded to the shortstop. Dick Schofield over to first. And that does it for the Orioles as they go quietly in the 5th. The end of 5. The Angels lead the Orioles 4-3.
You have been assigned middle, seat 34E.
Can I get an aisle seat?
No, Mr. High Maintenance. You may not have an aisle seat.
There are no others.
No.
There are no
seat.
There are no. Well, how about a window?
How about no?
But I was told.
I'm sorry, but I think you have me confused with an airline that cares.
Want more freedom to sit where you like?
Next.
Fly Southwest Airlines and experience the freedom of open seating.
You are now free to move about the country.
Come to the Mercedes-Benz winter event now through January 2nd and see all the exciting rides we have to offer. There's sure to be something for every wish list.
Sweetie, could you feed the dog? Dinner is almost ready.
I had that nightmare. The furnace was broken.
Honey, it's okay. Remember, we have Blue Dot.
Don't let a faulty furnace turn your dream home into a nightmare. Call Blue Dot Heating, Air Conditioning, and Plumbing for all your heating needs this winter season.
Call on Blue Dot every time.
Welcome back to Memorial Stadium, where the Angels lead the Orioles 4-3, and it's now time for the scoring track, brought to you by Track Auto. The Angels broke on top as Dick Schofield homered, his second home run of the series and the season, to give the Angels a lead in the first, and the Orioles tied it up in the second on Randy Milligan's long high home run over the left field fence. In the 3rd inning, Lance Parish unloaded over the center field fence to put California ahead 2-1. Also in that inning, Johnny Ray's sacrifice fly scored Schofield to make it 3-1. In the Oriole 3rd, Bill Ripken single scored Steve Finley to cut the Angel advantage to 3-2. Then in the 4th, Mickey Tettleton scored on Bob Melvin's ground out to tie the score at 3. And Max Venable's single scored Jack Howell in the 5th inning to put the Angels back in the lead 4-3. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Scoring track summary brought to you by Track Auto. Wally Joyner leading off the 6th inning with the Angels ahead 4-3. Wally is flied to left and flied to center. Ball 1. I don't know how it's been for you, John, but with the Orioles in first place and these big crowds turning out and tickets getting very difficult to come by, I've been getting a lot of calls from people I used to know lately. Remember me? I cleaned out your garage 3 years ago. How's the family? How are the kids? Right? Oh, by the way, any spare ducats laying around for tonight's game? Yeah, remember me? You almost ran me down an intersection 5 years ago. Just wanted to call and say hi.
You got a good tape machine.
That would be great. Sorry, I'm not home. And by the way, I don't have any tickets, so don't bother calling back.
Yeah, that's what I use. Not that line, though.
You've been getting more requests lately?
Sure.
2 balls, 2 strikes.
I just refer him to my next door neighbor who has a bunch of extra old Colts tickets.
I'm only kidding. I'm sure there are a few friends who say, well, I called in for tickets last week. That's the way he's talking about me? Nah, just kidding. Fly ball to right. Devereaux in his tracks. 1 out in the 6th. Well, last night we were off, John. I had to do my family duty, and I took my son Billy and his 2 friends to see the World Wrestling Federation show at the Baltimore Arena. Sellout crowd.
Well, I bet you enjoyed that, huh?
Oh, terrific. I was cheering at the end. After about 3 hours, I was cheering, and the people next to me thought I was really an ardent wrestling fan. What I was really cheering is, please get this over with. This is boring. Pin him. Strike 1 to Brian Downing. If you're a kid, it's enjoyable. It's a good show. But if you appreciate true athletic competition, the honesty of 2 athletes or teams competing, it's not quite the same.
Now, is it Randy Macho Man Savage?
Yes, it is.
Hulk Hogan.
Hulk Hogan. The Hulk one.
Well, he has to when he's got all the dolls out. He's got to remain the champion.
Grounded foul into the Oriole dugout. 0-2 to Brian Downing. I think Randy Macho Man Savage played minor league baseball, as a matter of fact. I believe it was in the Cardinals chain. I think he used to be a catcher.
All speed, no hit. Catcher, perfect position for him.
0-2, the count to Downing.
Matter of fact, Downing used to be a catcher. Where his exploits moved out into the outfield.
One ball, 2 strikes. Our producer Bill Brown thinks that Macho Man played in the White Sox organization and was a second baseman. Hey, as big as he is, he can play wherever he wants.
Baseman.
I don't. A 260-pound second baseman, that's hard to believe.
It's inconceivable anyway.
Maybe he was second base. A chopper to third. Craig Worthington with a long throw. Got him. Well, 2 down the top of the 6th inning. The Angels ahead 4-3 as Downing puts a dent in his batting helmet. That'll bring up Devon White, who has struck out and singled. There have been a lot of former pro football players who become pro wrestlers, but I don't know of too many baseball players.
No, I've only known one who would want to do it, and that's Ken Herbeck of the Twins.
Yeah. Oh, he's an avid wrestling fan. Base hit for Devon White, who's 2 for 3. In fact, Herbeck already has his wrestling name picked out. He's going to be billed as Tyrannosaurus Rex. But he and Gary Gaetti and several of the Twins are big wrestling fans. They're fanatics about it.
Well, we've got a former wrestler here in an umpire's uniform.
First base umpire Ken Kaiser was a pro wrestler. He's got a lot of scars to show for it.
Of course, he doesn't look like a wrestler, does he?
Talked with Kenny once about that. He said he really enjoyed wrestling. He wrestled against guys like Gorilla Monsoon and some of those, but said this is not as hazardous to your health as wrestling.
I'd say it's a dead giveaway when your head begins at your shoulders. No neck. You can generally assume that they probably were avid weightlifters or wrestlers.
Schmidt and Kaiser having a conversation about something. Schmidt's got to watch Devon White. He has 26 stolen bases.
Well, he wants
fourth
to go.
in the league.
He wants to go now. 2 outs. He's very active on the bases.
Ricky Henderson leads the league with 36. Cecil Espy of Texas has 29. Steve Sachs of the Yankees with 27. And White is fourth with 26. He's been caught 7 times. Angels 4, Orioles 3, top of the 6th inning. White is running. A throw by Bob Melvin, not in time, and Devon White, who got a good jump on Dave Schmidt, steals second. That's number 27 for Devon.
You know, he's a smart base stealer. Not only does he have speed, he knows when and how to run the bases. Look, with that kind of base stealing ability, each time he gets on first base, he probably shouldn't even hesitate to get down there. He's down there at second base in plenty of time. And Melvin got rid of that ball in a hurry, too. Threw the ball right there, yet he's scrambling all over the bag right now.
Nothing wrong with the throw. He just had no chance to get him. White stealing that one on the pitcher. Strike call to the outside corner to Tony Armas, and it's 1-1. For what it's worth, Tony Armas has hit more home runs in the major leagues than any other player from Venezuela.
Let me think. Who's from down there?
Venezuelans that come to mind were all middle infielders.
Vic Davalillo. He wasn't a home run
Chico
hitter.
Carrascal. Isn't Aparicio from Venezuela?
Yeah.
Soft liner over Worthington's head for a base hit, and Devon White will coast home with a 5th California run. A broken bat looper by Armas does the job, and it's 5-3 California. There's the value of that stolen base as White got himself into scoring position and comes home on the base hit, and that's going to be it for Dave Schmidt.
Well, that kind of offensive scenario has gotten them their last 2 runs. You know, as we've said so often, it doesn't matter how you hit the ball, it's where you hit it. And with that kind of speed on the bases, you know they're going to plate that run easily.
Oh, Dave Schmidt will depart as the Angels have scored a run and now lead the Orioles 5-3, and we'll take a break as the Orioles make a pitching change. Welcome back to Memorial Stadium as Frank Robinson makes a pitching change, and right-hander Mike Smith takes over for the Orioles, making his 6th appearance. There seems to be no middle ground for Smith. Either he's pitched brilliantly or he has been awful. And his first appearance for the Orioles after being recalled from Rochester, he was hit real hard. He's had 3 scoreless outings. But then in the first game of the series against the Angels here Thursday night, he came in relief, and in 3 innings gave up 6 runs, 5 of them earned on 6 hits, and walked 4.
Well, when he's not pitched well, then very few of the balls that he throws to the catcher actually do reach the catcher. You know, when you come into a game like this and the opponents are hitting a lofty 367 off of you, then you know you're not in a position, in a commanding position usually to get out of the inning. But you know, Frank has to lean on somebody here in this part of the game. You know, you use Thurman maybe in a different spot than you'd use Smith in right here because he's a right-handed pitcher. So you just hope that they can get out of this inning with only a 2-run deficit.
Thurmond is still throwing in the bullpen after Lance Parish, a right-handed hitter. Jack Howell, a left-handed hitter, will be coming up should Parish get on. So if Lance reaches safely, he might be the only man that Mike Smith will face. Parish has homered to deep center and flied to right. Tony Armas at first, 5-3 California. Strike 1. Mike Smith has a good arm. He throws hard, good breaking ball. Never felt he had an opportunity with the Reds organization. Did a good job down at Rochester before being recalled. One ball, one strike.
I don't think it's pitch selection that's his problem, Mel. It's location. And of course, that can hamper the effectiveness of even the best pitcher in the game.
Dave Schmidt went 5 2/3, gave up 5 runs on 10 hits, walked 1, struck out 1. And the runner at first, Tony Armas, is his responsibility. Popped foul out of play, 1-2 to Lance Parish. With the starting pitching again suspect, as Dave Schmidt could make it only into the 6th. Starters continue to put a lot of pressure on the bullpen. Middle relievers, short reliever Greg Olson, Mark Williamson. Got him. Parish strikes out to end the inning. Good job by Mike Smith. But the Angels pick up a run on 2 hits, 1 man left, and they go to the bottom of the 6th with California leading 5.
Reasons why college basketball is better. Number 7, the double dribble is actually enforced. Reasons for college basketball fans to cheer? 150. Because Masson carries over 150 NCAA basketball games. The Big East, the ACC, the CAA, the Atlantic 10. True hoops fans know college basketball on Masson. This game is true.
Who do I draft first? Quarterback or running back?
Steven Jackson or LaDainian Tomlinson?
Hey, when do I draft a kicker?
How many running backs should I draft, huh?
And who's a surefire rookie, huh?
Who's the better fantasy QB, Peyton Manning or Tom Brady?
Who's got the better defense, the Ravens or the Bears?
Who's a super sleeper pick?
Chad Johnson or Marvin Harrison, huh?
Who's a draft day bargain?
Anita Marks and her fantasy football experts show you how to win your league. Fantasy Blitz, tomorrow at 3 p.m. on Masson. Be there.
Big left-hander from Louisiana going for win number 11. The pride of Monroe, Louisiana. Played collegiately at Northeast Louisiana State.
Second baseman,
Bill Ripken will lead off the Orioles 6th. He has grounded to third and singled in a run. Takes a strike. Billy came up in the 3rd inning and singled to right. Drove in Steve Finley, and on the play Phil Bradley went to 3rd base, but Bill Ripken tried to advance to 2nd, and the throw to 3rd was cut off, and he got caught in a rundown and was tagged out for the 2nd out in that inning. That could prove to be a big play. Strike 2. Had he not been thrown out, the Orioles would have had runners at 1st and 3rd. And 1 out with Cal Ripken out.
Yeah, it was an aggressive play, even though he had to pay the price for it. But this ball club's going to have to continue to muster that same eagerness, that same aggressiveness that has gotten them to where they currently are if they want to stay on top. They got to be active between the lines. Good risk takers, both on the bases and in the field.
Got him to chase a forkball in the dirt, and Parish throws to Joyner. So it's another strikeout for Finley, his 4th, 2-3 on the putout.
But against a guy like Finley, Mel, when you know he's got this kind of a pitch that he doesn't always have to throw for strikes that you alluded to earlier, then he can afford to throw it out of the strike zone.
The key for Finley is getting ahead in the count. If he can get up 0-2, 1-2, then he can throw that pitch. Cal Ripken has lined to center and struck out. Finley's walked 1, struck out 4, and given up 4 hits. 5-3 Angels. Finley gave up 3 hits through the first 3 innings, including a long home run by Randy Milligan in the 2nd. But in the 4th inning, you just see it kick in. He just settled into a groove, and he's been very tough since. 1 ball, 1 strike. Retired the last 7 batters he's faced, striking out 3 of them. Ball, 2 strikes.
See, they were laying off of those pitches early in the game. The ones that were just kind of flitting out of the strike zone like that. But you have to exhibit an inordinate amount of patience almost against a guy like Finley, because he'll test your anxiety at the plate.
It's the forkball with the split finger fastball is the pitch of the 80s, huh?
Oh, there's no question about it. It can ruin a lot of hitting attacks up at the plate.
in the dirt. Cal lays off. It's 2-2.
I remember when Jack Morris came up with that pitch in, I think it was '82. He was really the first real starter to envelop that into his repertoire of pitches, and it made him much more difficult to hit.
Jack Morris in the American League, then Mike Scott in the National League with the Astros. That pitch turned his career around. And the count is full to Cal Ripken.
And this all goes back to Roger Craig when he was at Detroit.
Walked him. That'll bring the tying run to the plate, and Mickey Tettleton. Chuck Finley has now walked 2.
Well, he had to go some to walk Ripken because, you know, Cal was swinging a lot of pitches out of the strike zone. So you're right when you describe him walking Ripken.
Key pitch in that sequence, John, seemed to be the 1-2 forkball that Cal laid off of and made the count 2-2, and then it was a different story. Tettleton has grounded to short, doubled and scored. 5-3 Angels with 1 out in the 6th. Strike 1. Finley has won his last 3 starts, including a 15 strikeout effort against the Orioles in Anaheim June 24th. One ball, 1 strike. Mickey has already topped his career high in hits in his season. Base hit last night gave him 75 for the year. That's more than he's ever had. He has another one tonight. Strike 2, 1-2.
You see what's happened there, Mel. It looked like Mickey might have been settling in at the plate and kind of anticipating he might throw one of those forkballs. He's thrown 3 straight heaters. You guess wrong. That's all. You just sit up there and you look for a pitch and you get outsmarted sometimes.
See if he gets the forkball here, 1-2.
But at least he's willing to make an adjustment up at the plate. Many hitters aren't.
Forkball in the dirt. 2-2. For the most part, the Orioles have laid off the 0-2 and 1-2 forkball. And Finley has struck out 4. Last time he faced him, a career high 15 strikeouts. Fastball is high, and it goes to a full count with Tettleton. It's a different story if he can lay off that pitch. He was ahead of Cal Ripken 1-2, threw him a 1-2 forkball on the dirt. He laid off, worked the count to 2-2, and then eventually drew a walk. He was ahead in the count to Tettleton. Mickey wouldn't swing at the forkball in the dirt, and now the count is full.
Well, we'll see how spry and adventuresome they feel on the bases.
Fastball swung out and missed. Cal Ripken is trapped, hustles back to first, and he's saved.
What a smart play by Ripken. You know, as that pitch was being made, he looked back to the plate, and as he saw that Tettleton swung through that pitch, he just decided to discontinue his march towards second base on the run. So he hightailed it back to second because first, he'd have been a dead duck right here.
Got his hand in under Wally Joyner's tag.
Yeah, marvelous effort.
Cal may not have above average speed, but he is a great base runner. He's really a smart base runner, about as good as they come. Strike 1 to Randy Milligan. Finley is now struck out 5 after ringing up Mickey Tettleton. Milligan has homered and struck out. One ball, 1 strike. Is good base running something that you can learn, or is it a skill that you're really born with?
No. You don't walk out of the womb and all of a sudden your parents discover you can run the bases. No, what happens is, yes, you can definitely learn how to run the bases well. That can be a learned art in the game of baseball.
That's not quite what I had in mind. But I meant, is it a skill like good hitters, I think, are blessed with a skill that other guys aren't.
This can be developed.
Improve on it. It can. That's my point.
Yeah, it definitely can be developed.
3-1 to Milligan. Five to 3 California with 2 outs in the bottom of the 6th. And Milligan works in for a walk. Finley has walked 2 in the inning and 3 for the game now. And that'll bring up catcher Bob Melvin. We have some activity at the Angels bullpen.
Catcher Bob Melvin.
Rich Monteleone begins to throw, the right-hander. Bob Melvin has struck out, grounded out, drove in a run in the 4th inning. Checked his swing and takes inside. Ball 1. Huge crowd here tonight. 47,393.
Looks like there's more than that here. I don't see any empty seats.
Bringing the total attendance to 331,005. The attendance up over 320,000 compared to the same number of dates.
You might need some words of encouragement out there on the mound from maybe one of the coaches. You don't want to see this game self-destruct right here.
Marcel Latzman, the pitching coach, is heading out to the mound. And the crowd tonight, John, is the 2nd largest crowd of the season. Wow. Opening day, the Orioles and Red Sox drew 52,161. We'll have another big turnout tomorrow afternoon for the final game of this series between these 2 first-place clubs.
Well, you enjoy playing in front of that kind of support. It gives you a lift. Even as a visiting club coming into a place like this, as we see Rich Monteleone heating up quickly in the bully, used to enjoy coming in and playing in a visiting ballpark.
Chuck Finley had retired 7 in a row, then walked Cal Ripken after striking out Mickey Tettleton. He walked Randy Milligan and is now behind 2-0 to Bob Melvin. He hits it high, deep, but foul down the left field line. Finley with 8 complete games. Tops on the staff, but in a little trouble here in the 6th.
You don't ever want to try to throw a ball, but maybe he should intentionally try to throw one out of the strike zone upstairs.
Melvin fouls it back.
Right up there, but maybe just a little higher. It looks like that was what Parish and he had in mind, because he's got so much zip on it. Sometimes it just carries right over the bat.
Ball sticking in the screen. Melvin strikes out. Finley put a little extra on that fastball and blows him away. For the Orioles, no runs, no hits, and 2 big ones left at the end of 6. The Angels lead the Orioles 5-3, and this is the Home Team Sports Cable Network.
Now on DVD, it's MLB Bloopers, the funny side of baseball. Get ready for all the hits, misses, and some things we just can't explain. Jam-packed with pranks, practical jokes, featuring your favorite stars from Major League Baseball. MLB Bloopers, the funny side of baseball, now on DVD.
When Dodge unveils the most exciting sales event of the year, we want everyone to know about it. Announcing the Dodge event of a lifetime. For a limited time, get 0% financing on 2008 models, all backed by our lifetime powertrain warranty. That's the best warranty in the business, bar none. But hurry to your Dodge dealer today, because while the warranty goes on for a lifetime, this event ends soon.
Save up to 80% buying factory direct. Compare this well-known jeweler's 91-point platinum ring for $5,700 with the jewelry exchanges for $1,490. We make jewelry in every price range, guaranteed to appraise for double. Half-carat pendants, studs, and tennis bracelets are $199, 2 carats $499. 3-stone rings are $699, 2 carats $19.90, and 1-carat studs are still $399. Seen it elsewhere, we'll make it for less. Plus no interest for 6 months. Buy factory direct, the jewelry exchange in Bethesda.
Third down. Move the chains or give up the ball. The Ravens D stopped teams from converting 7 out of 10 times.
This ain't no party. This ain't no disco. This ain't no fooling around.
Ravens Extra, the maximum Ravens postgame show after the Ravens Seahawks game, Sunday on Masson. Masson means maximum Ravens. Be there.
Mark Thurman comes on to work the 7th. Thurman was the losing pitcher in the first game of the series Thursday night in relief of Jeff Ballard. He went 2 1/3 innings, gave up 2 earned runs on 4 hits, walked on and struck out 2 as the Orioles lost to the Angels 13-5.
Well, you know, Mel, the bullpen, specifically the Williamson-Olsen duo, has more or less been the given in the successful winning equation for manager Frank Robinson. Now there just has to be kind of a method devised to more easily get to them when needed. You know, you can't use them too frequently, and you do that by maybe going to a Mike Smith inning before, and then seeing Mark Thurman here coming into this situation here where the leadoff hitter, the first one anyway, is a left-handed batter. So in that respect, you try to play the percentages right off the bat and not take any chances.
Mike Smith did his job. He came in with a runner at first in the 6th and struck out Lance Parish to end the inning. So Thurman goes to work in the 7th, facing Jack Howell, Dick Schofield, and Max Venable.
Third baseman, Jack
Howell is popped to short, walked and scored. 5 runs, 10 hits, no errors for the Angels. 3 runs, 4 hits, and 1 error for the Orioles. Fastball is drilled to left center field and deep. Finley on his horse and can't catch up with it. Phil Bradley grabs it off the wall, and Howell is into the long double to lead off the 7th.
Bradley would have chased that ball and run hard for that ball. He might have had it. That ball was curving back to the left and into him all the time it was out there running to the wall. Now, I think Phil probably more or less just gave way to the center fielder here, anticipating that he'd have the best shot at it, but that ball's curving back to the left right there. You know, he could have gotten close. Whether he caught it now remains to be seen. But Finley didn't have a chance. At least you could see that from up here.
That's the 11th California hit. Howell has hit safely in all 3 games of the series. And now Dick Schofield is a batter. Imagine he'll be up there bunting, or at least trying to hit the ball on the right side.
Oh, that would be a big insurance run for them, getting 3 up.
Ball 1 as he squares around to bunt. Schofield got the Angels started with a home run in the first off Dave Schmidt. He also singled and scored in the 3rd.
You know, they do scoreboard watching too. You know, they look up and they see Oakland's losing to Toronto. They know they can add to their margin. And by doing that, they can get another run up here.
Schofield's bunt rolls foul. 1 ball, 1 strike.
You always, when you're playing a road, you always want to extend your lead as much as you can, any way you can do it. So bunting in this situation is one way to do that. If the next hitter can do the job.
The next hitter is Max Venable, who in his first start since being recalled from AAA has gone 3 for 3. So he's done the job tonight. Angels 5, Orioles 3. Strike call, 1 and 2. Let's see if they have him bunting even with 2 strikes. He is an excellent bunter, and they might risk a strikeout. Let him try to lay it down.
Hey, it's a possibility, especially with a good bunter. You could let him just go right ahead and try to bunt the ball down, because basically you've already got the runner in scoring position, even though Howell's not a good base runner out there as far as speed is concerned.
Greg Worthington moves back a couple of steps back in the bag at third.
You can bunt him over, then you don't have to play station to station baseball with a slow runner.
He's swinging away, and it's grounded foul. Moose stooping, chasing it down.
Well, if that had been a cabbage roll, Moose would have had that way before it got to the coach's box there. He's a good guy. But he's one of those coaches who never stands in the box either.
Punched foul down the right field line. I'll never forget one of your most memorable lines, John. There have been many of them. One night, Floyd Rayford was either playing third or he was on third and was standing there talking to Moose Stubing, and we had a shot at the two of them. And Moose was, well, he's heavy now, but he was considerably heavier then. And Rayford liked to eat. Looked like he had a basketball inside of his uniform top, and you said they're comparing recipes. Bounced on the right side. That'll do the job as he gets the runner over to third.
Great piece of bat work there. The bunt was foregone. Hit the ball to the right side. Same thing.
The little things that win games, and the Angels appreciate Schofield giving himself up to get Howell to third. That brings up Max Venable, who is 3 for 3. 3 singles and a run batted in. Orioles bring the infield in. 5-3 Angels. Ground ball up the middle against a drawn-in infield. Venable has his 4th hit. The Angels pick up another run to go up in front 6-3 as Jack Howell scores. So Max Venable is 4 for 4 at his first start with the Angels.
Yeah, we've seen some pretty good bat control from Max here in this game. And he seemed to use the center of that field quite well. And that's all he had to do is just punch it through a drawn-in infield. A lot of guys just try to overpower the ball up there, try to force it through there, but he just casually stuck that bat out there and just punched it through.
With the infield at normal depth, that's a routine ground ball and an out, but they got the runner over a third. Schofield with a good piece of hitting the ball on the right side, inside outing it, getting Jack Howell to third where he could score on the base hit. As we said earlier, Max Venable runs very well. 6-3 Angels. They now have 12 hits. Swing and a miss by Johnny Ray up there, right-handed for the first time tonight. He's a switch hitter. Batting just .225 from the right side, .327 left-handed. This big crowd of 47,393, very quiet right now.
Well, I think they're quiet because most of the offense has gone the way of the Angels, and they've been very responsive to the moment on hand. Very timely hits, and that's what you need to win games. You know, you've seen that all year long. You expect that from ball clubs that are on top of their divisions. But you don't generally expect it from players who have just been called up.
The Angels with a dramatic turnaround this year. Not quite as dramatic as the Orioles, but definite improvement in this club. Hit foul out of play, and then basically with the same cast. There have been a couple of key additions, though. Lance Parish behind the plate. Bert Blyleven to anchor the pitching staff. But aside from those two, it's basically the same bunch they had last year. It's Doug Rader's to be given a lot of credit for the team's turnaround. I think his situation is similar to that of Frank Robinson. Frank managed in Cleveland and San Francisco and was fired and has displayed far more patience here than he did in his other stops. And I think the same is true of Rader, a very intense type who had a tendency to air out his players on occasion in Texas when they made mistakes, and he admits that he's a little more patient now with the Angels. Guy with a good sense of humor, but still an intense competitor.
Well, he's instilled kind of an unbreakable spirit in this ball club. His ball club wants to win for him.
3-2 the count to Johnny Ray.
And when a manager can get the most out of his players, then he's accomplished what he wanted to accomplish. They might as well continue to be active on the bases here. Put the runner in motion.
Venable is running. Johnny Ray bounces it through the hole into right field, and Venable will scoot to third. Seeing quite an exhibition here by the Angels tonight.
Boy, didn't he ever use that runner in movement to his best advantage. See, that's the benefit of the hitter also knowing what's going on, especially the man running there, knowing full well that the second baseman probably would be covering.
Not only have the Angels hit 2 home runs, but they're doing all the little things you need to do. Advancing runners, hitting the ball on the right side, getting over the runner over to third with a runner at second, nobody out, hitting through the hole in a hit and run.
It's almost as if they've choreographed this game, and they've directed this inning quite well.
13 hits total now for the Angels. They have runners at first and third with 1 out, and Wally Joyner up. He lays off a high fastball. Mark Thurman in his first inning of work has given up a run and 3 hits. Joyner grounds it into right field for a base hit. Venable will score, and it's 7-3 California. So Thurman unable to do the job. He's given up 3 consecutive hits, and the Angels now lead 7-3.
Well, these last few balls here have just found the hole. You know, you hit the ball and it takes 15 bounces through the infield. There's not much you can do about that. The Angels are playing up this inning quite well. You know, they've scooted out to a 4-run lead right now, and that's something that they probably wanted to do.
And it's up to Mark Thurman because there's no one throwing in the bullpen. Thurman has given up 2 runs, 4 hits, the last 3 hits coming consecutively. Here's Brian Downing, who's 1 for 3. Johnny Ray is at second. Wally Joyner at first. 7-3 Angels. Ball 1.
Well, a manager tries to weigh the benefits of leaving a reliever in there as long as he possibly can, hoping he'll get out of it and going to another member of the bullpen who he might be able to use tomorrow and under more favorable circumstances. So, you know, all those things a manager has to consider standing in that dugout.
One ball, 1 strike to Brian Downing, who is 2 for 4 lifetime against Mark Thurman.
Well, this is a particular inning where the Angels could apply the chokehold here, the killer instinct, and blow the Orioles out, especially the way Finley's pitching.
Johnny Ray, the lead runner at second. Wally Joyner is at first. Two and 1. Brian Downing, a very aggressive hitter. He'll attack anything from his belt to his eyes. Primarily a high fastball hitter. Throughout his career, he's normally hit right-handers better than left-handers for some reason, which is the opposite of the way it's supposed to be. Chopper in the hole. Cal Ripken gloves it to second for the force. Bill Ripken's throw in time. A tough double play turned by the Ripkens and Randy Milligan.
Hey, Cal made that play work for him because he anticipated where the ball might be hit. So he got the ball over to his brother as quickly as he could before he got cut in half. And Billy was able to get rid of it just in time.
But the Angels pick up 2 runs on 4 hits. 1 man left on base. At the end of 6.5, California now leads.
Okay, man, all week long, right? All week long. We've seen it coming. Have that pass now in that field. Let this thing go. Let it go. Have a hell of a day. That's all this is. Have a hell of a day.
An important lesson I learned is to never give up.
Major League Baseball and the Boys and Girls Clubs of America teach kids the importance of never giving up.
Home run, Big Papi spikes again!
Big kid, big effort, big smile. I guess that's why they call me Big Papi.
Major League Baseball is a proud sponsor of the Boys and Girls Clubs of America. Together, they create a positive place for kids.
Mike Devereaux leads off the bottom of the 7th. California scoring 2 in the 7th. The Angels now lead 7-3, and Chuck Finley will be tough to beat with a 4-run lead. The Orioles had him on the ropes in the 6th after he walked a couple of batters, but he struck out Bob Melvin to end the inning. Then the Angels came back to score 2 more and hike the lead from 5-3 to 7-3. Ball 1 to Devereaux, who's grounded to short and lined to left. Two balls, no strikes. If you recall, John, it was the Angels who did a number on the Orioles in late June after the Orioles had swept a 4-game series, or a 3-game series in Seattle. They went into Anaheim, won the first game on a pinch hit homer by Jim Traber, 6-5, and then Mike Witt beat them 5-1. Chuck Finley beat them 8-3 and struck out 15, and Kirk McCaskill beat them in the final game of the series 7-6, and sent the Orioles reeling for a while. And Finley walks the leadoff batter. He showed signs of tiring in the 6th when he walked Cal Ripken and then Randy Milligan. And he's now walked 4 total, 3 coming in the last 2 innings.
I've just noticed, Mel, the Angels starting pitchers have combined for 19 complete games, which also leads the major leagues, in which for the most part has become a lost art in baseball since the closing pitcher has gained prominence.
Greg Minton, the veteran right-hander, begins to throw in the Angel bullpen.
But just in comparison, the Orioles have 5 complete games on the year. Of course, the Orioles lean more heavily on Greg Olson than the Angels do on Brian Harvey. Complete games are kind of an indication also of the strength of the rotation.
Ball 1 to Worthington. Chuck Finley, with 8 complete games, has more than the entire Orioles staff. Worthington has grounded to third, flied to left. The Orioles have only 4 hits tonight. Finley's having trouble throwing strikes, and that'll bring Lance Parish out to the mound. He's thrown 6 consecutive pitches out of the strike zone.
Well, he's throwing right now like he's throwing darts, almost like he's aiming it.
His control has been better than a year ago when he averaged almost 4 walks per 9 innings. Walked 4 tonight.
He actually probably should feel a little more comfortable on the mound now with a 4-run lead. It's quite a discrepancy in hits.
14-4. 7 runs, 14 hits, no errors for the Angels. 3 runs, 4 hits, and 1 error for the Orioles, and that may be it for him. Marcel Latzman is coming out to the mound. I don't know if Minton has had enough time to get warm.
Well, maybe that's it. Maybe they just want to take a little more time and allow the reliever out there to get warm. So it takes a while for him now to end the discussion and walk back to the dugout and to complete this at bat.
Keane comes out to try to break up the conversation, and we'll get a pitching change. So Marcel Lassman buying as much time as he could. Now he'll go to the bullpen, as Finley apparently has just run out of gas. Well, Chuck Finley will depart. Greg Minton coming out in the bullpen with the Angels ahead 7-3, and we'll be right back. Veteran reliever Greg Minton takes over for the California Angels with nobody out in the 7th. Chuck Finley went 6 innings plus 1 batter in the 7th. He allowed 3 runs on 4 hits, walked 4, and struck out 6, and gave up 1 home run. Minton making his 33rd appearance out of the bullpen. He has 1 victory, 2 defeats, a fine earned run average of 1.74 and 5 saves, and in 46 2/3 innings he's allowed just 40 hits and only 1 home run.
Well, here's where a change in scene has really done a player a lot of good. He wore out his welcome in San Francisco, and he kind of moved to the middle reliever short man here for this ball club here, and it's given him some new life. Probably more of a sinker ball breaking pitcher now, after having depended so long on that fastball that kind of sinks and loses speed at the plate. But you'll see a sinker and a breaking ball for the most part of his arsenal.
So he takes over with a count 2-0 to Craig Worthington. Should he walk Worthington, the walk would be charged to Chuck Finley. Mike Devereaux is at first with nobody out. 7-3 California. Minton, who had some outstanding years with the Giants. He had 30 saves for San Francisco in 1982. Ball 3. When he was with the Giants as a brash young reliever, Minton used to boast that he could pitch in every game if needed. Called. It's 3-1 to Worthington. He was busy early in the year with the Angels. He worked in 14 of the Angels' first 32 games. He said, I always believed I could pitch an inning in every game. It's those 2- and 3-inning outings that really wear you down.
Well, that constant work, it benefits a guy who throws a lot of sinkers, because then his ball will just sink naturally.
He's been used as a setup man for Brian Harvey. He walks Worthington, so the walk is charged to Finley.
Only thing is, I don't care how many sinkers you throw, you still got to throw the ball over the plate. And actually, his game hinges on him working ahead in the count, just like it does Chuck Finley's.
So that's 5 walks charged to starter Chuck Finley.
Now, we've seen a lot of Orioles on the bases tonight, yet they've only had 4 hits on the game.
Steve Finley comes up with runners at first and second and nobody out. He has singled and scored and struck out. Ball 1. The Angels are anticipating a bunt. Down by 4 runs.
Well, if you can get closer by 2 in a 4-run deficit, then it puts you that much closer to inevitably catching up and possibly taking over the lead. But that'd be a strange occurrence right here if you gave up an out 4 runs down. I don't see that happening myself. Not to say he wouldn't bunt for a base hit.
He is an excellent bunter. Good drag bunter from the left side. And he takes a strike, 1-1.
Let's face it, the Orioles have surprised a lot of people by the way their bats have spoken this season, so it's not inconceivable that a good club can float a bit while the pitching, for example, gets sorted out. But it's these kinds of situations during the course of a ball game where they got to get some kind of hitting reply when they've only gotten 4 hits up to this moment.
Mike Devereaux at second, Craig Worthington at first. Finley hits a ground ball by Johnny Ray into right field. Devereaux's heading home, and he'll score to make it 7-4. That run is charged to Chuck Finley, and the book is closed on him. Steve Finley single makes it a 7-4 game. Still nobody out.
See, when Finley bluffed that bunt on the first pitch, he was just trying to make Minton get the ball over the plate. But you never want to give up an out because something like this can happen, where you extend the inning. Now you hit a home run. Guess what? Score's tied.
And a red-hot hitter at the plate now, and Phil Bradley. Tonight he's 0 for 2 with a walk, but he's hit safely in 16 consecutive games.
Got a guy out on the mound that throws a lot of ground balls.
Minton rarely gives up a home run. And this big crowd comes to life. Big rip by Phil, and it's 0-1. I try to put that one in the seats.
You know, whether you hit the ball 2 feet over the fence or hit it into Europe, you still only get credit for 1 run. But a home run here would produce 2 others besides. And that would be something for this big crowd to see.
Minton not giving up many home runs. He's allowed only 3 homers since July of 1987. One this year. Fouled back, and it's 0-2 to Phil Bradley. And in his career, he's allowed only 1 home run per 27 innings of work. Looks like Joe Orsulak is going to hit for Bill Ripken, who's scheduled to bat next. Angels 7, Orioles 4, nobody out. 2 runners on, the count 0-2 to Phil Bradley. Trying to get him to chase a pitch out of the strike zone. It's 1-2.
Well, that's Minton's game anyway, and Phil knows that. You know, Phil's a very smart hitter at the plate.
In Minton's entire career, only 1 player has hit 2 home runs off of him, and that's his current teammate, Johnny Ray.
How about that?
Inside 2-2. Ray did it when he was with the Pirates, and Minton was with the Giants. So it's tough to get the ball out of the park against this guy.
Well, you can see the way he works the plate. You know, he had that ball sneaked by Phil Bradley up there, but he threw it just off the plate. You don't have to throw everything over. Just get it close sometimes.
He spent 12 and a half years with the Giants before they released him. Hit foul down the right field line. Minton late in his career with the Giants, and then after he's gone to the Angels, had a real weight problem. You can see he lost a lot of weight. He was probably about 225, 230 before, and apparently his wife Brenda nagged at him, saying, get your weight problems under control, and he got himself into top physical condition and has begun to become an effective pitcher. Doug Rader said he had a great arm, no question, but the conditioning had a lot to do with bringing him back and extending his career. We'll find out what his kind of condition is in right here. Oh, 3-2 to Phil Bradley. So Minton had him 0-2, but now in danger of letting him slip away to load the bases.
Yeah, you can see that cool, calm exterior there on the part of Minton, but in the inside, he's got to be boiling.
Greg Worthington at second, Steve Finley at first. And Phil Bradley represents the tying run.
You going to run him, Coach?
No. They are gone. Ground ball on the right side. Johnny Reyes only plays to first. Worthington goes to third, Finley to second. And now we'll get a pinch hitter. Joe Orsulak will hit for Bill Ripken.
Batting for Bill Ripken. Number 6. Joe Orsulak.
Orsulak in his career hitting .286 against Minton with 2 hits and 7 at-bats. Angels 7, Orioles 4. Minton picking up for starter Chuck Finley. Orsulak was a DH in last night's game. Joe batting .293. Lays off the pitch, and it's ball 1.
Well, they're willing to give up a run here if he hits the ball to the right side. So Joe would like to hit that ball in the outfield grass, I'm sure.
Hit hard. It's a fair ball down the right field line. Worthington will score. Here comes Finley, and the ball gets away from Armas. Heading for third is Orsulak, and he's in safely. Orsulak delivers in the pinch, a pinch hit triple to right field, driving in 2 runs.
You're not going to see a finer piece of pinch hitting here, just out of the reach of Wally Joyner. That's that down that line again, Mel. Down first, down third, right through the right fielder here, Armas. That allows Orsulak to go to third.
It could possibly have been scored a double and an error, but they'll give him a 3-base hit. And now the tying run is at third base with 1 out and Cal Ripken out. The Angels bring the infield partway in. 7-6 California. Ball 1 to Cal Ripken. This crowd is just going bananas. They're rocking this ancient stadium. Cal tonight is lined to center, struck out and walked. Orsulak with good speed at third base. Called strike, 1-1. Veteran left-hander Bob McClure is throwing in the bullpen. Doug Rader looking on from the Angels dugout. Moments ago his club led 7-3. Now it's 7-6. Missed the outside corner. Minton wanted that one.
Well, it could have gone either way. You can see him there eyeballing the home plate umpire, Jimmy McKean.
McClure, the former Milwaukee Brewer. And the count is 2-1 to Cal Ripken.
Robinson rushed McClure into Orsulak into the game before McClure could get up out there. That worked to his advantage.
Cal Ripken fouls it off. The count is 2-2. Trying to elevate the ball, hit it in the air so he can get Orsulak home. But when Minton has that sinker working, he's tough to hit the ball in the air off of. 7 runs, 14 hits for the Angels. 6 runs, 6 hits and an error for the Orioles. Outside, close to a wild pitch. Good save by Parish. And Minton goes to a full count with Cal Ripken.
Well, under no circumstances with Orsulak on third and first base open does Minton feel that he has to throw the ball over the plate. You know, he can play for the next hitter.
Mickey Tettleton is up next.
So he can try to get him to fish.
Grounded to third. Jack Howell takes a look at the runner and throws Ripken out as Orsulak has to hold, and there are 2 outs. So Cal couldn't get the job done. And that'll bring up Mickey Tettleton. Tettleton, who's never had a hit off Greg Minton. He's only had 3 at-bats against him. But tonight he's grounded to short, doubled and scored, and struck out. Well, if the Angels had finished this half inning with the lead, the stats don't bode well for the Orioles because California is 46-2 when they've held the lead after 7 innings. Ball 1 to Tettleton. Ball to the second baseman. Johnny Way drops it. The throw to first in time. He recovers to throw out Tettleton, and the Orioles leave the tying run at third base, but they score 3 runs, and at the end of 7, the Angels now lead 7-6.
Now on DVD, it's MLB Bloopers, the funny side of baseball. Get ready for all the hits, misses, and some things we just can't explain. Jam-packed with pranks, practical jokes, and bloopers. Featuring your favorite stars from Major League Baseball. MLB Bloopers, the funny side of baseball. Now on DVD.
She is all that. Man, somebody need to sign her up. Damn, that girl's looking fine. Amazing.
Hot sports, hot topics.
The Anita Mark Show, now weekdays from 3 to 5 p.m. on Masson. Be there.
If you manage a business, you know by now that document management doesn't just start here, it starts here. At Centric Business Systems, we provide office technology that is designed to help you better manage your document workflow and increase overall productivity. For over 40 years, local businesses have trusted Centric for hardware and software solutions supported by Centric's award-winning local service. Team up with Centric today. Centric features sharp products.
President Larry Lucchino on hand, of course, enjoying the Orioles' prosperity this year. A couple of changes for the Orioles. Rene Gonzalez will take over at second base. He will bat in the number 2 spot. And Mark Williamson is the new pitcher. Mark Thurmond was ineffective in 1 inning of work. He gave up 2 runs and 4 hits. But the Orioles are back in the game. It's 7-6 California. Devon White will lead off the Angel 8th. Mark Williamson worked 2 innings last night. Relief of starter Brian Holton gave up 1 earned run on 2 hits, walked 3 and struck out 3, and then Greg Olson came on to save it. Devon White 2 for 3 tonight. 2 singles, scored a run, and stolen a base. The Orioles playing up at the corners in case he's thinking of bunting his way on. He is a good bunter. It's an important guy to keep off the bases because if he gets on, he'll probably be running. Strike one.
Well, this is the situation also where the Orioles want to see a guy like Williamson in the game because primarily he's out there to hold this team right where they're at.
Worthington and Milligan playing in. Palm ball low, and it's 1 ball, 1 strike.
He is susceptible to that pitch. We saw it work for Dave Schmidt early on.
One ball and 2 strikes to Devon White. 26-year-old outfielder from Kingston, Jamaica, who grew up in New York City. Had an outstanding rookie year in 1987. He made the all-rookie team and set several Angel Club records for rookies. Then last year missed a quarter of the season with injuries. Still won a Gold Glove. This year he made the All-Star team. Hit hard into right field for a base hit.
Look what happens when you try to sneak that fastball by him. He's missed every single slip pitch or palm ball they've thrown to him tonight.
Right fielder.
So White is 3 for 4. Well, let's see if White is running. He had a stolen base in the 6th, and that led to a run. Sure. You wouldn't figure Tony Armas would be bunting. I probably count the number of times he's bunted his career on one hand.
That's right. Sure, let him run. He's got that kind of base stealing ability, and they'll never hold him back. You give him the go sign when he gets a jump that he feels comfortable with, he's gone.
Strike one to Armas, who does not have a sacrifice this year.
Tony's waiting for him to run. He took that pitch right down the center.
Armas drove in a run with a broken bat single in the 6th that scored Devon White after White had singled and stolen second. So they'd like to see the same scenario here in the 8th inning. Armas hits it to right field. Devereaux toward the line to make the catch. 1 out. Going to bring up the catcher, Lance Parish, who has hit 2 home runs in the series. He hit one Thursday night, the Angels' 13-5 win, and he belted one over the center field fence in the 3rd tonight off Dave Schmidt. Enjoying very much being back in the American League. He's an outstanding catcher with the Detroit Tigers before becoming a free agent, signing with the Phillies. White draws the throw. Parish, a 7-time All-Star, 6 times in the American League with the Tigers, made it once in the National League. Won 3 Gold Gloves. Had 9 terrific years in Detroit before leaving. Yes, we are still experiencing audio difficulties and we're working feverishly to correct them. A pitch out, but Devon White is not running. Angels 7, Orioles 6. Top of the 8th. Devon White at first base. Called strike, 1-1.
It doesn't look like Devon's getting a good read off of Williamson because he's working so quickly to the plate. Mark staring over there at him.
The stolen base in the 6th came with Dave Schmidt pitching. Talked earlier about weightlifting. Here's a guy that could pick up the stadium. Parish, always an avid weightlifter throughout his career.
Well, Sparky Anderson for Detroit had his qualms about Parish moving into the weightlifting arena. But after he started popping those balls in the seats, he changed his mind.
Two balls, one strike.
And I know that Angels owner Gene Autry cherished the job that former receiver Bob Boone did for him. But hey, guys like Parish don't come along that often.
And Lance still relatively young. He just turned 33 in June.
Gives this ball club more depth behind the plate than they've ever had. He and the addition of Bill Schroeder as well.
Ground ball in the hole. Worthington and Cal Ripken can't get it, and White streaks to third. It's a base hit for Lance Parish to put runners at the corners.
Well, he did everything he could to try to smother that ball at third base here, and then Cal thought maybe he could smother it as well, but he kind of overran it there because he anticipated Worthington not knocking that ball down.
Third baseman, Jack.
But this is the kind of directional hitting that they've had all night here, and it's worked in their favor. That's what you need to win a game like this.
Well, the Angels have pounded out 16 hits tonight.
16 hits. They've got a 10-hit advantage, yet they're really only up by 1 run right now.
They had 17 hits in the first game, in which they won 13-5. But they're ahead tonight by 1 run, 7-6. And Jack Howell comes up with runners at first and third and 1 out.
Now they need this run home because you never feel comfortable with a 1-run lead under any set of circumstances.
Ball 1 to Howell.
Hard thrower on the mound, a good fastball hitter at the plate. You know, something's got to give, and maybe that something is maybe the use of that palm ball or slip pitch a little more often to a guy like Howell.
And the ball won't have to be hit very deep for Devon White to score the way he can run. Howell lays off a high fastball, and it's 2-0.
You know, you don't expect a guy like Parish to be running at first base, so a pitcher on the mound can pitch as though that, you know, there was just one runner on the bases, and that was the runner at third. So you can utilize your entire arsenal of pitches. Of course, that's for Williamson is usually that fastball and palm ball and occasional slider. But Howell's got to be looking for something hard right here.
He hits it high in the air to center field. This will do the job as White tags at third. Steve Finley makes the catch, and Devon White will score to make it 8-6 Angels. Jack Howell's 30th run batted into the season. So the bullpen has not been all that effective tonight. Mark Thurman in 1 inning gave up 2 runs. Williamson in his first inning of work has given up 1.
Well, they've produced some runs lately without that explosive pop, and that's the way you, as I mentioned, and you can mention as many times as you want, it's the way you win these kinds of games. Stolen base, move the runner over, go base hit the center, fly ball to produce a run, that kind of stuff. That's what we've seen tonight from the Angels.
This one has been right out of the textbook as far as the Angels are concerned. Dick Schofield 2 for 4. He pops it up back of third. Worthington digging hard, and it's back in the seats.
You never feel secure on the mound when anyone is at the plate with a piece of lumber, whether they're hitting 220, 230, 240, or whatever, because just a little flick of the wrist can send that ball into the outfield.
One ball, 1 strike. The Angels have scored 8 runs tonight, and when they've scored 4 runs or more, they've gone 39-6 this year.
Not good.
And also worth repeating, when they have the lead after 7 innings, California is 46-2. And they're up by 2 runs in the 8th. Chopper to third. Worthington to second for the force. Let the Angels pick up an insurance run on a couple of hits. 1 man left to go to the bottom of the 8th, with California leading by 2 runs, 8-6.
What you did today doesn't just happen. You got to believe in that.
Rod Woodson returns his 10th interception for touchdown. That's a new NFL record. And Shannon Sharp has become the all-time leading NFL receiver among tight ends. Tony Siragusa deflected the pass and then fell on top again. And is the Ravens' all-time sack leader past Michael McQuarrie in this game. Down the far sideline, still on his feet. He's gone all the way. And the Ravens are the champions of the world.
It's 10:38 p.m. Do you know where your children are?
They could be here.
Good chance with 47,393 turning out tonight, the second largest crowd of the season. The Orioles find themselves trailing by 2 runs as Randy Milligan leads off the bottom of the 8th. It's 8-6 California. Milligan has homered, struck out, and walked. Facing Greg Minton for the first time. Minton gave up a couple of runs in the 7th. They've got a couple of ground ball outs to get out of the inning. A broken bat liner caught by Minton. 1 down.
Well, he's really shown a propensity for working these hitters in. So you always have to be thinking about that. Ball looks like it tails a little bit in too. You had plenty of time to think about grabbing that one.
Here's Bob Melvin, who struck out twice and driven in a run to the ground out, so he's 0 for 3. Facing his former Giants teammate Greg Minton. Ball 1. Foul ball, 1 ball, 1 strike. With the Red Sox and Yankees having lost this afternoon, the Orioles will not lose any ground at those 2 clubs, but they could pick up a game on the Yanks and Red Sox if they could turn this one around.
It's going to be a bunching up in that division, you know, from second place probably through 4th or 5th.
Everybody's really in it except the Tigers, who've lost 10 in a row now. 2-1.
And that makes it very difficult to pick up any ground because you're battling everyone right around you. Unless you're winning and the club on top is losing.
Strike 2. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
That's why these intersectional games are so important, because that way you can establish some ground gaining momentum.
Outfield playing straight away and not too deep on Bob Melvin. Ball 3. Minton goes to a full count. Brian Harvey is now throwing in the Angels bullpen.
He certainly believes in using that full count.
Thrown a lot of pitches. In 1 inning and a 3rd. And he walks Melvin. So that'll bring the tying run to the plate in Mike Devereaux. It's the first walk allowed by Minton, and Brian Harvey continues to throw.
He's taking better cuts now, though.
Ball 1.
Last couple of games he's hit the ball harder, not on the nose. You're going to lose that good feeling at the plate. The bat doesn't feel right. You don't see the ball as well. It takes you a while to regain that kind of consistency.
Fastball for a strike. 1-1. Mike thought that pitch was high. You rarely see anything above the belt called a strike anymore. 1-2. That tailing fastball.
Yep.
Good movement on that pitch.
It didn't look like under any circumstances he wanted to throw any balls to Devereaux. He threw 2 balls right over the heart of the plate. He's going to make Devereaux make something happen here.
Foul back. Angels 8, Orioles 6, bottom of the 8th inning. Two balls, 2 strikes. Chuck Finley started. He went 6 innings, plus 1 batter in the 7th. He was charged before the 6 Oriole runs. Bouncer into left field for a base hit. Bob Melvin will go to second. And Devereaux grounds a single to left. The 3rd hit given up by Greg Minton. And with 1 out, Craig Worthington will be coming up. And Marcel Latzman pops out of the Angel dugout.
Can't blame him. This is a situation made for your closing pitcher. And Brian Harvey is well ready out there in the bully.
And he's going to make a move to the pen for Harvey. Marcel Latzman has also been given a lot of credit for the Angels' pitching turnaround this year. During the offseason, he had several of the pitchers come out to Anaheim Stadium and work out. And I think most importantly, got their attitudes turned around. There are a lot of pitchers in the staff that had things to prove. McCaskill coming back from injuries. Witt had a bad season on the last year of his contract, trying to come back. And the addition of Bert Blyleven has given the club a lift. But Marcel's done an excellent job, and Doug Rader's given him free rein with the pitching staff. He said, I'm very fortunate to have people of Marcel's ability. Why not let him call the shots? So the proper approach is to let the pitching coach and the hitting coach do their jobs.
You're right, Mel. A manager has to employ that. He has to know how to delegate authority through his coaches and then to manage through your coaches, because that's why you've got all these years of experience on the sidelines here handling all these players. You know, if you can do that well, then you're liable to get more out of your players and your talent than normally would be expected. But this is the guy right here, Brian Harvey, that you want to see in the game under these sets of circumstances here. You know, a position where you're leading by a couple of runs, they've got a couple runners on base, and where your performance usually determines whether or not your ball club wins or loses. And for the most part, when he's been out there, his ball club has won. Very stingy, does not give up many runs at all. And guess what? He's got one of those 80s pitches as well.
Throws hard, throws in the 90s, but has a nasty forkball. Worthington has grounded to third, flied to left, and walked. Been the Orioles' best hitter with runners in scoring position, hitting .329. Bob Melvin at second. Mike Devereaux at first. Worthington. One ball, 1 strike. Brian Harvey is quite a story. He played softball for Howard's Furniture, a nationally ranked slow pitch softball team, before signing up to play professional baseball. His father Stan has played for Howard's for years down in North Carolina. Forkball in the dirt. It's 2-1. He'd been scouted by a few teams. Went to a Braves tryout camp. No one called him back, and he resigned himself to playing alongside his father on the softball team. And then in '84, a guy that he played American Leagues and ball called him up with. They needed a player for their team, a pitcher. He went over and pitched. Gave up 1 run over 8 innings, and the word got to the Angels that he was a prospect, and they eventually signed him. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Said he threw 20 pitches for the Angels scout. 2 days later, they signed him. First came up with the Angels at the end of the '87 season. Last year had 17 saves for California. Brian Harvey. Hit high in the air to center field and deep. Divine White is back, and he makes the catch. Bob Melvin tags. Both runners will advance. Melvin goes to third. Devereaux to second on the long fly ball by Worthington.
And just a little more oomph right there, and the Angels would have been looking at a 1-run deficit. You know, as it was, that ball carried very well out there near that 405, in there between the 405 and 387 mark out there in the outfield. And because it's so deep, both runners are allowed to move up the base.
So Melvin is now at third, Mike Devereaux at second, but there are 2 outs. And Steve Finley is the batter, with the Angels leading 8-6. Finley 2 for 3 tonight. He singled twice, scored 2 runs, and driven in 1.
Well, you drop one out in the grass out here in the outfield, and this game's going to be tied.
Ball 1 to Finley.
It's a benefit of having your fast runner on second as opposed to third with your slow runner on second.
Minton falls behind the count, 2-0.
Of course, it's unlikely that Harvey pitches around anyone, but with first base open.
Not with Phil Bradley up next.
Yeah, well, it is with Brian Harvey's technique, the fact that he's a very hard thrower on the mound, and that Bradley, for the most part, is a good off-speed hitter. He might have an advantage, even with a 16-game hitting streak that Bradley has.
Harvey stepping off the mound, thinking about what he wants to throw Finley here. Ball 3-0.
See, he's in no hurry to give Finley a fat pitch to hit.
Finley was the second man that Minton faced in the 7th, and Steve greeted him with a single to drive in a run. This would be high drama indeed if Phil Bradley would come up with the bases loaded, and he will. Well, Finley draws a walk to load him up. Phil Bradley comes to the plate, 0 for 3, with a 16-game hitting streak and possibly the game on the line in this at-bat. So it's Greg Minton against Phil Bradley. Bradley, who is 2 for 7 in bases loaded situations this year. Bob Melvin is at third. Mike Devereaux at second. Steve Finley at first. Ball 1. Minton, a control pitcher, is having difficulty throwing strikes right now. Phil Bradley is 1 for 4 lifetime against him. Ball 2, and he falls behind 2-0. I believe I said Minton. It's Harvey on the mound. And That's going to bring Marcel Latzman out.
Well, you mentioned that he can run into ruts of wildness on the mound, and of course that's something that's afflicted him right here. This is the man he wanted to pitch to. But he has to feature his good stuff, and right now it's got to be over the strike zone, right through the strike zone. And I'm sure that that's what Latzman is trying to impress upon him, regardless of the situation. You got to get the ball over now.
Brian Harvey behind the count, 2-0 to Phil Bradley. Bases loaded, 8-6 California. Strike called, 2-1. Big rip by Phil, and it's 2 balls and 2 strikes. By the way, Greg Minton, speaking of Minton, went an inning in the 3rd. He allowed 2 runs on 3 hits, walked 2, struck out none, and Harvey trying to put out the fire. Inside. The count is full, so the runners will be gone on the 3-2 pitch. Instead, Harvey can be a little wild. Something hitting the alleys here might score 3 runs. Harvey backs off, again thinking about his pitch selection. Second largest crowd of the year. 47,393, rocking the stadium. The runners are gone. The pitch is lined foul.
That's one thing that Bradley does so well. He fouls off good pitches that a pitcher can make. And you're not certain in this circumstance whether Harvey can make that many strike pitches. But then Bradley's very susceptible to that high fastball strike.
Bill strikes out quite a bit. He's fanned 53 times this year. The runners are gone. The pitch is high. Ball 4, and Harvey walks in a run to make it 8-7. Bob Melvin scores. The bases are still loaded. Bradley with a walk gets credit for a run batted in. The run is charged to Greg Minton.
Yeah, they know 1 run closer puts you back in the game again.
Angels 8 and the Orioles 7. The bases are still loaded. And Rene Gonzalez is coming up for the first time in the game. He entered the game to play second base after Bill Ripken was lifted for a pinch hitter. Swing and a miss by Gonzo. He's hitting .250 with 1 homer, 8 RBIs. 0 for 2 lifetime against Brian Harvey. There are some left-handed bats available. If Frank Robinson wanted to have a Jim Craver or Larry Sheetz hit here, then who would you have play second base? That's your problem. 1 ball, 1 strike. They do have some left-handed bats, but no spare infielders left. Brady Anderson, Sheetz, Craver, all left-handed. Gonzo pops it foul, and it's 1-2.
Well, he gives you a good at-bat at the plate. And Harvey just challenging him with that fastball. He might not do it now with that forkball he has. Of course, that pitch might get away from Parish also, but You know, she's a big guessing game now at the plate.
And Renee Gonzalez has been a decent hitter with runners in scoring position, hitting .280.
All right.
Bases loaded. Time called. Mike Devereaux is at third. Steve Finley at second. Phil Bradley at first. Three very fast runners on the bases. And Gonzalez strikes out with the bases loaded. Got him with a forkball. But the Orioles pick up a run at the end of 8. It's now California 8, the Orioles 7.
Now on DVD, it's MLB Bloopers, the funny side of baseball. Get ready for all the hits, misses, and some things we just can't explain. Jam-packed with pranks, practical jokes, and bloopers. Featuring your favorite stars from Major League Baseball. MLB Bloopers, the funny side of baseball, now on DVD.
So you went with an American car, huh?
I did. It's a Chevy Cobalt. What do you think? Dad, I love this car. It's great gas mileage. It's better coverage than a Toyota or Honda. And they have great things to say about it on Edmunds.com.
Looks like somebody's been doing their homework. Good job, kiddo. Come on, take your old man for a spin.
Okay.
Get a 2008 Cobalt Sedan LS with $2,000 total cash back through January 2nd during Chevy's Red Tag event.
How would you like to run a business of your own from the comfort of your own home? Be your own boss, set your own hours, and make great money. It's not as crazy as it sounds.
Last year, I made over $100,000 a year from my home.
I just made a down payment for our vacation home, working part-time.
We gave up our jobs.
People thought we were crazy.
And we took in over $250,000 in our first year.
Yeah, you have to be crazy to visit this website and find out how to start your home business. Crazy like a fox. There are thousands of opportunities for you, full or part-time. Live the lifestyle you've been dreaming of. The secret is in this success kit. To get yours, log on now.
Next year, my goal is $500,000.
I made $5,000 yesterday.
We've made enough to spend winter in Hawaii.
Crazy? I don't think so. Log on now to get your success kit.
Welcome back to Memorial Stadium. Mel Proctor along with John Lowenstein. A nail-biter tonight with the Angels leading 8-7 through 8 innings.
Well, if you're a real fan, though, you couldn't handle many more games like this. You know, the entire stadium was standing with Gonzalez up there at the plate that last half inning.
But Gonzo struck out with the bases loaded. John, you and I were just trying to figure out if there were any possible moves Frank Robinson could have made, but if he had pinch hit for Gonzalez, he just wouldn't have anybody who capable of playing second base. He'd have to bring an outfielder in to play the infield.
You'd have had to have been real comfortable with that feeling to have made it beforehand.
And looking ahead at the bottom of the ninth, if the Orioles can keep the score close here in the top of the ninth, they're going to have some good hitters coming up. Cal Ripken, Mickey Tettleton, and Randy Milligan. So defense is certainly important at this stage. Strike one to Max Venable, who's enjoyed a perfect night in his first game as a starter since being recalled. He's gone 4 for 4, 4 singles and 2 runs batted in. 1 ball, 1 strike. Dave Schmidt started. He went 5 2/3. Mike Smith faced 1 batter. Mark Thurmond worked 1 inning and gave up 2 runs. And Mark Williamson now in his second inning of work. He's allowed 1 run. It's popped up, and that'll take care of Mr. Venable's perfect night. 1 out.
That's it. He can't hit with nobody on. No, you got to hit the first time with nobody on.
Here's Johnny Ray, who's 1 for 3 with a sacrifice fly. Ball 1. Ray, a switch hitter. His dad taught him how to switch hit when Johnny was just a youngster in Oklahoma. and Williamson falls behind on him 2-0.
Some players just feel more comfortable hitting from one side as opposed to the other, and evidently the left side is more favorable to him.
Hit foul out of play, and it's 2-1. Here's a question I haven't found an answer to yet. Why are there so many switch hitters from the Dominican Republic? Think about it. Toronto has at least 4 of them. Manny Lee and Nelson Liriano and Junior Felix and Tony Fernandez.
I don't know. What do I look like, the shell answer man? I mean, that's a question that can't be answered.
Base hit for Johnny Ray. That's like one of the questions my 7-year-old son Billy asked me. Dad, if Andre the Giant sat on top of the car, would there be a dent in it? How long would it take to get to the moon if we left today?
Yeah, well. They expect an answer.
Dad, is Cal Ripken a better player than Mickey Mantle was? Here's Wally Joyner, who drove in a run with a single in the 7th inning. The Angels now have 17 hits, matching their total of Game 1 in the series. Ball 1 to Joyner. Well, Billy, the score's tied. It's the Angels 5 and the Orioles 5, and he'll say, well, who's winning? Another base hit. Johnny Ray takes the turn, heading for third. And into second with a double goes Wally Joyner. The bullpen has just not done the job tonight. Thurman was ineffective in 1 inning. He gave up 2 runs, and Williamson has been tattooed for 4 hits now.
Well, it just goes back to pitch selection and location for the most part. You know, the Angels are going to get their hits. I mean, look at 18 hits tonight. So they've had plenty of runners in scoring position, but it's the constant bombardment that afflicts a relief corps. It's not generally who's out there, but that particular night, anybody walking out there was going to get hammered.
The Angels are ahead 7-3. The Orioles scored 3 in the bottom of the 7th to make it 7-6, and the Angels scored again in the 8th to go up 8-6. The Orioles came back with a run the bottom of the 8th to make it 8-7, and now the Angels are threatening again, and the Orioles will bring the infield in with runners at second and third and Brian Downing at the plate. Johnny Ray is at third. Wally Joyner, the runner, at second base. Ball 1 to the dangerous Brian Downing. Always a good clutch hitter throughout his career. Does everything in an aggressive style. Attacks the ball, runs hard on the bases. Used to play the outfield very aggressively, was involved in a lot of collisions. He pops it up, shallow right field. The runner at third is tagging as Devereaux lines it up. And there'll be no advance. Good throw by Devereaux, and Ray holds at third. The ball not hit deeply enough for Ray to tag up and score.
You see now when that ball's hit out there to that position, and then Milligan's going to have to hustle back and to get into cutoff position. There was no one there to take that throw, so Devereaux had to throw it all the way into the catcher.
Looked like Milligan curled back, thinking the ball was hit to shallow right, and he might have to make a play. And now the Orioles will issue an intentional walk to Devon White with first base open. He's had 3 hits tonight. So they'll walk him and pitch to Tony Armas. The 18 hits by the Angels tonight are a season high. Ties their season high.
Well, this is a smart play because everything that's been thrown up there hard to White, he's whistled into the outfield, so you take your chances percentage-wise with a guy like Armas. Unfortunately, Armas is hitting over 300 coming into this game.
Tony's been hot lately.
Yes, sir.
So the intentional walk to White will load him up.
But this is just one of the many alternatives and options that, you know, you seek out and you maneuver through during the course of any 9-inning game.
Armas tonight 1 for 4. He drove in a run with a single in the 6th. Bases loaded, 2 outs, 8-7 California. Top of the 9th inning. Tony does strike out a lot. Ball 1. Armas, who was rescued from the Mexican League by the Angels in 1987. Looked like it might be the end of his career, but he's come back and has played well this year. Big rip at a fastball, and it's 1-1.
Boy, that's his game, boy. He lets the thing fly up there in his eyes. As many times he's reached it, and many times he's hit it. It's halfway to the wall already. All you gotta do is hit it.
He steps in the bucket. He bails out towards third base when he swings. Some pitchers will try to jam him inside with fastballs. Others will work him away with off-speed stuff. But he's a dangerous low fastball hitter. If you happen to throw the ball when he's pulling away, he'll hit it out of the park.
That's why you got to get it way in.
Broken bat roller. Worthington can't make the play. And the Angels pick up another run. It'll be scored as a base hit. I think had Worthington let that ball go, Cal Ripken would have had a shot at throwing out Armas and ending the inning.
Well, that's right, because Ripken had played Armas to his right. So he had that hole all plugged up. Now this ball's not going into the outfield. Ripken's right there to eventually gobble up that ball and make a play on it. See, Worthington's playing wide anyway. So in him diving after that ball, he's way over there in that shortstop position.
So it's now 9-7 California. Armas reaching on the infield hit. He gets a run batted in. The bases are still loaded. And Lance Parish is up. The Angels with a chance to blow this one open. Chopper to short. Cal Ripken to second for the force. If the Angels pick up an important insurance run in the 9th inning, they now lead 9-7 as we go to the bottom of the 9th with Cal Ripken, Mickey Tettleton, and Randy Milligan coming up for the Orioles.
Get to your Jeep dealer and get a great deal during the final days of the event of a lifetime.
Get 0% financing on all 08 Jeep vehicles like Grand Cherokee.
Plus, make no payments till summer on all Jeep vehicles, including the new all Jeep Liberty.
And the fuel-efficient 28 miles per gallon Jeep Patriot.
Plus, you'll be covered by the best warranty in the business, the Jeep Lifetime Powertrain Warranty.
Blaze a trail to your Jeep dealer today, because the event of a lifetime ends soon.
After my automobile accident, I knew I needed a good lawyer, so I called Nichols, Bourne & Lundeen.
Nichols, Bourne & Lundeen made sure I was not shortchanged by the insurance company.
They made sure that all my bills were covered, and I didn't end up in debt for an auto accident. That wasn't my fault.
Nichols, Bourne & Lundeen got me compensation for my lost wages.
Nichols, Bourne & Lundeen got me what I deserved for the accident.
For a free consultation on your rights, call 1-888-834-2288.
Who do I draft first? Quarterback or running back?
Steven Jackson or LaDainian Tomlinson?
Hey, when do I draft a kicker?
How many running backs should I draft, huh?
And who's a surefire rookie, huh?
Who's the better fantasy QB, Peyton Manning or Tom Brady?
Who's got the better defense, the Ravens or the Bears?
Who's a super sleeper pick?
Chad Johnson or Marvin Harrison, huh?
Who's a draft day bargain?
Anita Marks and her fantasy football experts show you how to win your league. Fantasy Blitz, tomorrow at 3 p.m. on Masson. Be there.
If anyone can show why these two should not be joined together, speak now or forever hold your peace. But before you speak up, consider that if they do marry, they will be healthier and live longer, with more financial security. Their kids will do better in school and be less likely to use drugs or break the law. Any objections? Good. Therefore, with the power vested in me, I now pronounce you husband and wife.
Welcome back to Memorial Stadium. A near-capacity crowd here tonight. 47,393 of the announced attendance. It's been quite a battle with the Angels leading 9-7 as we go to the bottom of the 9th. California with 19 hits, a season high tonight. Cal Ripken will lead off the bottom of the 9th inning against Brian Harvey. scoreless in 3 at-bats tonight. That run the Angels scored in the top of the 9th, looming very big right now.
Huge, gigantic. Well, they don't call Brian Harvey the closer because he lets games like this get away.
Strike one, says Jim McKean. Popped up. Wally Joyner at foul territory with plenty of room. One down.
See, if they didn't have a responsive offense, this is a game probably that the Angels would have lost. And that they certainly would have lost last year. But when you've got those guys who can score runs when your pitchers have an off night and still win a game like this, then you've got a good ball club.
Here's Mickey Tettleton, who's 1 for 4. He doubled and scored in the 4th inning. Outfield playing him straight away. Hit foul, strike one to Mick.
Of course, we say their pitchers have had an off night. They've only given up 7 hits.
Meanwhile, the Angels have 19.
The thing that's kept the Orioles alive is that the Angels pitchers have probably walked more than their customary total. And that's kept them in hot water.
Breaking ball for a strike, and it's 0-2. Angel pitchers have walked 8 Orioles tonight. Harvey's wildness got him in trouble in the 8th inning. He walked Steve Finley to load the bases, and then walked Phil Bradley with the bases loaded to force in a run, but then struck out Rene Gonzalez with the bases loaded to end the inning. Fastball is high, and it's 1-2. Two balls, 2 strikes. Well, he had him 0-2, and now it's 3-2 to Mickey Tettleton. Sure doesn't want to walk him and bring the tying run to the plate. And Randy Milligan, who's already hit a home run tonight. Ball 4. So he let Tettleton slip away.
Well, it wouldn't be right, Mel, if this game ended in a less than dramatic fashion. You know, it would be anticlimactic. This way you make the game interesting.
So the walks are keeping the Orioles alive. And Randy Milligan will come up for the first time tonight against Brian Harvey. Milligan homered off Chuck Finley in the 2nd. Also struck out, walked, and lined the pitcher.
I wouldn't think a guy like Harvey would give up too many bolts.
Ball 1. He seems to be getting everything up now. Harvey's allowed 3 home runs in 29 2/3 innings entering this game.
But because he has been a little wild, then he'd be more likely maybe to give up one here if a batter could get around in that good smoke and anticipate that forkball.
Hit foul out of play, and it's 1-1 to Randy. Ball 2. Milligan showing that keen eye at the plate. Harvey wanted that call but didn't get it. Larry Sheetz is on deck and will hit for Bob Melvin. That spot comes up. The got to throw Milligan strikes. He just won't swing at anything out of the strike zone. The ball gets away from the catcher, and Tettleton will go to second. A wild pitch by Harvey puts Tettleton at second base.
That's the meaningless run there with the Angels plating a run in the top of the ninth. So they're not concerned at all about that man out there. It's the guy at the plate, but this is the forkball getting away, and Parish can do nothing with it.
Well, Tettleton moves to second. The count is 3-1 to Milligan. The walks are keeping the Orioles close. Milligan walks for the second time in the game. That's the fourth walk that Harvey has allowed. That'll bring up Larry Sheetz heading for Bob Melvin.
Well, when you keep playing in the hands of danger, then it can walk up and slap you on the backside.
And Marcel Lassman heading out to the mound. There's nobody throwing in the bullpen. It's up to the closer, Harvey.
Yeah, there's no closer one and a closer two. Harvey is it. So if he has an off night, then you got to hope that you've got a cushion of a couple of runs, which they have.
Sheetz has played very little lately. He's appeared in only one of the Orioles' last 4 games. But he's hit .286 in his last 27 games. Well, if we have to go to extra innings, Nicky Tettleton will have to catch, which means the Orioles would lose their designated hitter. Pitcher would have to hit in his spot. Of course, once you get a pinch hitter for him, but that's down the road. Right now, the Orioles trail by 2 runs. And Harvey can't throw a strike to save his life. And now the Angels are going to get somebody up in the pen. At least they're scurrying around out there.
It looked like McClure got back up, but
strike call, 1-1.
But they'd have to be hard-pressed, Mel, to go out to the bully again to fix someone else unless Harvey just completely fell apart.
Nicky Tettleton at second. Randy Milligan at first. And a ball skips away from the catcher, and both runners will advance. Oh, another wild pitch moves Tettleton to third, and Milligan to second.
Harvey may feel compelled, Mel, to just sticking with that good fastball now and forgetting a little slider and a little forkball now because, you know, he's thrown too many of those in the dirt.
2 balls, 1 strike to Larry Sheetz.
Yeah, once again, you know, they're in a position where they could tie it.
Well, the runner's moving up on the wild pitch. That also takes the Angels out of a situation where they could get a double play to end it. Sheetz whacks it into right center for a base hit. Tettleton will score. Here comes Milligan, and we are tied. Sheetz with a pinch hit single driving in 2 runs to tie the score at 9. And boy, have the pinch hitters come through tonight. Joe Orsulak came up in the 7th and tripled in 2 runs as a pinch hitter. And now Sheetz ties it up with a 2-run single. And we're going to get a pitching change as Brian Harvey, the stopper, couldn't stop the bleeding. 2 walks and a couple of wild pitches killed him. And then Sheetz delivered a 2-run single to tie it. Brady Anderson is going to run for Sheetz at first.
Well, you call it, Mel, have not lacked for opportunity, and Sheetz worked Harvey into a position where he knew he was going to get a fastball, and he didn't miss it. I mean, you got some guys on bases who have moved up on 2 consecutive wild pitches. And that kind of set the stage.
The single by Sheetz is the only hit Brian Harvey allowed, but his wildness did him in. He walked 4 and uncorked 2 wild pitches. And we are tied 9-9. Brady Anderson will run for Sheetz.
An interesting development, really, with Harvey coming out of the game and a right-handed hitter at the plate, and they're going to bring in McClure under any and all circumstances, regardless, because Harvey was just having much too difficult a time getting the ball over the plate, at least into a location that he could feel comfortable with.
So Harvey worked 1 inning. He allowed 2 runs on 1 hit, walked 4, and struck out 1. And did Larry Sheetz ever come through?
It's a hard part. You sit there all night, and you wait for your shot, and then you come up against somebody throwing the ball in the 90s, and you finally get a pitch you can hit, and then it pays off. So that's one of the hardest jobs in baseball.
So Bob McClure takes over, veteran left-hander. Brady Anderson will have to be careful because this guy has one of the best pickoff moves in the business.
He does have one of the best moves in the business, Mel. And besides that, you're hoping that with him coming into the game and his slants from the left side, you hope that he can throw the ball over the plate and then work himself into a posture where he can utilize all his pitches effectively. Now, that's something that you can't do when you're experiencing wildness on the mound. You just try to get it over, and then when you try that, then a hitter more than likely just lays back on you and tries to waffle a pitch, which Larry Sheetz did under those circumstances against Harvey.
9-9 tie with 1 out in the bottom of the 9th and Mike Devereaux up.
I've seen guys get picked off 6 feet off the bag with him on the mound.
Brady didn't get a good look. He was moving back toward first when McClure delivered to the plate, and it's 0-1 to Devereaux.
Well, that's all right, because the first couple of pitches you want to take a one-way lead, but you also want to get off as far as you can and then come back. Your initial step is back toward first, just to get the proper read on the pitcher, but I've never been able to get the proper read with McClure on the mound.
One ball, 1 strike.
And this is a guy who has a fastball, a curveball, even turns it over. He got a little screwball feature. So if you're going to run, you hope that you guess correctly on maybe the screwball, that wide sweeping breaking ball he features. To steal off of him, though, for the most part, you got to guess with him, anticipate him going home.
Brady takes a little bigger lead this time. Devereaux hits it deep to left field, way back, and it is gone. Home run. The Orioles win it. The Angels can't believe it. They thought it was a foul ball. They've come out to argue. Doug Rader, the rest of the Angels are furious as they argue with Jim Joyce, the third base umpire, but Mike Devereaux's home run has won it 11-9. But the Angels are going bananas. They're going crazy as the Orioles celebrate. Doug Rader is absolutely berserk. See if we can get a shot of that. Oh, he's going wild. Ken Kaiser's having to restrain him. He obviously thought the ball was foul. Moose Stubing holding him back.
Well, Kaiser and Stubing are probably the only two that could hold him back. You know, Joyce is out there, Mel. He's well out under the grass, and he made the call that he thought was correct. It's difficult to tell from up here, but you don't often get several players complaining unless the ball is definitely foul.
The biggest hit of Mike Devereaux's life, and I'm telling you, Doug Rader's got to be held back. He's going crazy, absolutely crazy. Let's see if we can get back to Rader as we watch the home run. We'll take a look at that later, but the Angels are coming out of the dugout having to restrain him.
Well, Rader's getting his voice in, and of course, it looked like the pitching coach Latchman was trying to get his 2 cents in worth too, as Joyce was headed back to the dugout. But the Orioles win this game in dramatic fashion, and that produces those kinds of emotions.
How do they ever win this one? Mike Devereaux cracking a 2-run homer to win it. The Orioles coming from behind to win, scoring 4 in the bottom of the 9th inning. The totals for the Orioles: 11 runs, 10 hits, 1 error, and 7 left. For the Angels, 9 runs on 19 hits, 1 error, and 9 left. The winning pitcher, Mark Williamson, and the loser, Bob McClure. Well, the Orioles win it in dramatic fashion, 11-9. Now let's go to Jeff Brimmer for the Home Team Sports WBAL player profile.
Well, the man of the hour, Mike Devereaux. Mike, tell us about the home run.
I'll tell you what, I thought it was going to go foul. It was the best experience of my life right now. It's great. The team was battling back. Everybody's working hard and came out the best end of it.
Did you see the ball go into fair territory? I understand the California Angels thought it was a foul ball.
I was looking hard, but when the ball went through, I was up the line a little bit, and I really couldn't tell myself.
How about the dramatic come-from-behind win? What's a win like this mean to the ball club?
Oh, it's great. It's something that we need. The Angels kept battling back, and when we score runs, they score runs. Then we just kept coming back, and it's just a great feeling, and hopefully we can just carry that on.
There had to be a big lift getting Finley out of the ball game, I would think, Mike, because the team has struggled against Finley this season. Seeing him out of the ball game, that give you guys a bit of a lift as well?
I think so. We still didn't hit him that well today, but the hits that we got were good timing. But yes, definitely. He shut us down up there, and we were happy to see him lead the game.
What's a win like this mean as far as the character of the ball club, knowing that California has 19 hits? They kept getting that insurance run, going 2 runs ahead. You guys kept battling back, and a big hit by Larry Sheetz.
Oh, a great big hit by Larry Sheetz, and you got to look at Joe Ursulak too when he came in to pitch that situation with 2 runners on, and it was just a great all-around team effort.
And again, a final question, a final thought, as you say, the highlight of your career. It's been a great year for you in an Orioles uniform. This one better than them all?
Oh, definitely. Oh, most definitely. I feel great.
Congratulations, Mike. Go on in there and enjoy it with your teammates.
Thanks a lot.
Mike Devereaux, the man of the hour, with a dramatic home run. And let's go back upstairs.
And let's take one more look. Is it fair or is it foul? If it somehow goes through the foul pole, it's a fair ball and a home run. But if it wraps around it to the left, it's a foul ball. And it was very difficult to tell, John.
Yeah, well, if it goes through the foul pole, then it's fair. But I'll tell you, we've seen this a half a dozen times, and you can't tell whether the ball was fair or foul.
Give you the totals one more time. For the Orioles, 11 runs, 10 hits, 1 error, and 7 left. For the Angels, 9 runs, 19 hits, 1 error, and 9 left. Mark Williamson is the winner. He's now 6-2. Brian Harvey is the losing pitcher. He's now 1-2. And a big, dramatic come-from-behind win for the Orioles, and it's worth repeating. When the Angels have held the lead after 7 innings, they were 46-2. But tonight, they couldn't hold it as the Orioles scored 4 in the 9th to win it. Final score, Orioles 11, California 9. We'll be right back.
What does it take to have power like Pujols?
It takes skills.
Legendary for its hit-away baseball trainer, Skills has teamed up with All-Star Albert Pujols to create his signature line of batting trainers, the Skills Power Package.
You want to be a power hitter? You need strength, you need fast hand, and you need to hit the ball on the sweet spot of the bat. The Skills Power Package delivers it all.
Power starts with hitting square on the barrel, and the unique barrel-only design of the sweet spot bat teaches you to hit there consistently.
The sweet spot bat really helps my contact. I can use it with batting trainers, soft toss, and even live pitching.
Want to improve your strength, hand speed, and contact? The fully adjustable power stick lets you set up real bat feel in a narrow diameter trainer. Set it to the length of your game bat and add or remove weights to make it heavier for building strength or lighter for speed and repetition.
The power stick lets AJ give more swing while building crisper contact. He's really become a little slugger.
Another perfect tool for building strength, as well as improving your motion, is the Power Sleeve. Wrap any bat, even your game bat, with its heavy 7 ounces of protection, and you'll automatically have a weighted trainer that properly guides your bat position in your stance and swing.
The Power Sleeve helps you get your hands out in front for a better swing and more power.
Order the Skills Power Package now and get the Sweet Spot Bat, the Power Stick Variable Length and Weight Training Stick, and the Power Sleeve Weighted Bat Protector, all for 3 payments of just $33.33. Plus, to help your power during games, we're including the Skills Variable Bat Weight free. Add or remove any of the weights for the ideal warm-up.
Power package gives me all the tools I need for better hitting and more power.
Hit it more. Hit it deep. Get it now.
Call now to order the Skills Power Package for power like Pujols.
Welcome back to Sports Legends at Camden Yards. Tom Davis, together with the former Orioles pitcher Dave Johnson. Of course, that why not season was highlighted by that Mike Devereaux home run July the 15th, 1989. Devereaux hit 8 home runs that year. But I think the one thing that really highlighted that season was the youth, the enthusiasm, the defense, and the Orioles come from behind victories that year that put them in a chance to possibly win a division title the final weekend of the season.
Well, that's true, and they had so many come-from-behind wins and exciting type wins from day one, of course, on opening day, beating Clemens, and the comeback win later on in that game. It was one of those deals where it just seemed to go on and go on and go on. And again, you talk about the why not season, it really just came. I think all the other teams were going, how are these guys doing it? And then after a certain period of time, it was probably about a month and a half, 2 months in, the Orioles players themselves, I think they were thinking, hey, why not? Why can't we do this? And then that just caught on, of course, the announcers and the fans and the media and everybody going on with the why not thing. And with the youth of that ball club and the excitement, the Devereaux hitting the home run, timely home runs. He didn't hit a whole bunch, but the ones he hit were big. And the defense that he played, of course, all the other players contributing in so many different ways. It was just a magical season.
It was also a year that we found out that Mickey Tettleton ate Fruit Loops and had 26 home runs. And on that note, we'll wrap things up. Our thanks to Dave Johnson. This is Tom Davis. Thanks for watching another Oriole Classic on the Mid-Atlantic Sports Network.
Now on DVD, it's MLB Bloopers, the funny side of baseball. Get ready for all the hits,